was I had this ambitious plan because I realized I keyed 3 shots in one day. And I was like, oh,
Mm,
that's great. I can get this done. I could be halfway done by Sunday, and that'd be great. And then what happened is one shot took 2 days,
oof.
so that was not very fun.
Is a lot.
But I'm hoping the others will not be as difficult. We'll see. There was 2 characters. There was a lot of like subtle, weird, complex movements. I'll show everybody um,
Mm,
the shot so we can take a look at it together. And I'll
nice.
also
Nice, 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 nice.
just grab the link.
I am in the process of debugging a server right now. I'm trying
So we're
to.
both gonna lose our
Oh,
minds.
oh, neat, neat. There's also a broken reference to everything because
Good,
why not? That's
good. That's what you
probably good
want.
too.
I'm
That is what
thinking
we
based
want.
on our
Yes.
conversation you want. So you're going to be you're going to be working with SQL, which is I know it's the special kind of hell. I'm going to be animating, which is a hell.
and not just SQL through a Microsoft Access
Oh,
front end.
oh no. Oh
It's the
no.
worst. Wait a
Oh,
minute.
that's like a what is that like? Um it's like a
It's
grizzly
not.
bear in a shitty hat, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
We'll
not
kill
great,
you.
is what it is.
Is out to get you. Also, we're gonna have Bucky in a bit. It sounds like, which is
Excellent.
wonderful. I'm very excited. Um,
Nice.
it's always nice to get to look forward to these streams every week. So I'm not
Yeah.
working on this entirely by myself.
Oh, that's
Um,
nice.
the air quality here is very bad.
Oof.
It was very
Yeah,
stressful.
I can imagine.
It's still stressful today because it gets too warm, but I can't really do anything about it. So
Right.
I don't feel great, but I'm gonna focus on animation, and that will make it better. Mm, mm, I think. Oh, a leaf from my philodendron is covering the viewer count. Please move, kind sir. All right. I've got it trellised around the pinboard. It's very pretty, very serene. I'm very relaxed right now when I look at it. It's working.
Very nice.
Mm. And at some point, I may get up
Okay.
to get
Ooh,
some food and coffee.
that's encouraging. Well, it loaded up and it did it pretty fast. So that's definitely encouraging. I mean, pretty fast, relatively speaking. It didn't
Right,
take it like
compared to
a
how
minute.
it's compared to how it's
Yeah.
done. Um, so we're gonna focus on backgrounds today. We're gonna get
Nice.
backgrounds done for all the shots that have been roughed out. Um, and then I don't know. We might rough out more shots. I might just scream into the mic for the last like hour and a
That's
half.
completely valid. You're
I
valid.
think so. I think I am.
I've been very impressed with the work that you're doing. I gotta say,
Thank
like,
you.
I keep forgetting, like, you're actually like an animator, like you
I
actually have
am.
like training and stuff.
I went
But
to
like
the,
your
yeah.
work is really cool to see, like the process.
Thank you.
Um,
Because animation's very cool. Like, there's nothing
it
quite
is
like it.
cool.
There's nothing
I
quite
think
like it.
it's a skill I do not have at all, and I'm really impressed to see people that have it. Like it feels almost magical to me, which is
Exactly.
neat.
It's, it feels like magic. And when it's done right, it looks very magical too. Um,
Yeah,
and
really,
just,
it's cool, and I like it, and I really
it's extremely
um
rewarding to get
yeah, I
done.
like
And yeah, you get to do so many very fun things. Like, you get to be an actor, you get to be a cinematographer, you get to be a
right.
director. You get to be just so like you get to. It's drawing a movie.
Yeah,
Like
and like
that's all it is.
I don't know. I feel like it's interesting to see it's interesting to see with creative stuff because I feel like that's the case for like a lot of creative things is like if you don't know how to do it it feels like wow that's like fucking that's like magic and like I have a few things I can do creatively that like other people don't know how to do
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I don't think about it because I know how to do those things but just like it's trippy to see to think like someone looking at what I do would be like, "Oh wow, like how do you know how to do that?" Like I don't know, I just kind of do.
Yeah, and you either like I won't say like either have the spatial sensibilities or you don't. Um, but there's just like there's something about it that's hard to teach.
Yeah.
Um, Not impossible to teach, but yeah.
Photography is actually similar in some ways. Like, um, I, I I don't think about it much because I've done photography for a very long time, but like when you look at photos that are taken by someone that doesn't know what they're doing,
Right.
um, like you can see like, oh, like it's not just pointing a camera and snapping a picture. Like there is actually like a thing to it. Um,
Yeah,
and it's
there's
hard to sometimes it's
flavors.
hard to describe. Like I could talk about things like shot composition or blocking or like ratios and shit like that, and a lot of it comes down to like just whether or not it looks good and like whether or not like you have the sense that it looks good or
You
not.
gotta use
Um,
your intuition mainly,
yeah,
and
that's
that's
exactly.
yeah. You gotta have intuition for movement, for weight, for how the overlap of things is going to work. You have to,
Yeah,
but it's so cool, and I love doing it so much. And I actually haven't done it in a long time because it's a very time extensive thing, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's the other thing is animation requires so much
so
like
much
time
time. It's
for it.
yeah, yeah, but I'm
Oh,
kind of lucky right now. I know the world sucks, but it has,
yeah.
I will say, been pretty conductive to me spending time on this right now since I'm not allowed to go outside anymore. Uh, so that was kind of nice, and I'm lucky. My job has been. I have no idea how I lucked out and got this job.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
someone's watching out for me. I don't know who, what. Probably myself, but
Doesn't matter.
doesn't
It's
matter.
good regardless.
But does yeah. So I was able to take last week off to kind of just focus on
Very
this,
nice.
and that did help. It did help me kind of get started because
Nice.
I was very intimidated on starting the keys for this thing because
Hmm.
after you've actually sat down to draw it, it's not just in your head anymore. It actually looks the way it
Yeah.
looks, and it's going to look that way forever and to everybody else as well. So it's not just this very exciting thing it's in your brain. It's on the page. It's
It's
done.
real.
So I was
Yeah.
worried that it wasn't going to look good, but it looks great.
It's
And these colors are done by my friend
I
Cricket.
they look really good.
Yeah.
I like the work that I like seeing the work you're doing. It's
Thank
really
you.
again like it's not a skill I have, so it's really cool to see it in action. Like I I don't know. I understand enough about it to like to appreciate how much work goes into it, but I also don't do it. So it's like it's really neat to see. Like I again, like the creative stuff that I know how to do, I think you appreciate that on a different level because it's like you can look at it and be like, "Oh, I understand your process." Like if you sat me down with someone that does writing, like I could actually have a meaningful conversation about like, "Oh, why do you write the way you do?" And it would actually be like I could actually sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But like with this, it's just like, "Ooh, that's
It's like, oh, how
pretty."
does it work? Yeah. Because I've been, and this isn't quite as, what's the word I'm trying to like, opaque, ironically. I've been
Mhm.
watching a ton of aquascaping.
Mhm.
Um, because it's just it's got like all the principles of like composition and stuff that I can understand, and then it's got the very complex like technical
Yeah.
aspects. And it's kind of the same thing. Like I'm looking up things I can just watch people do them and not really get, and it's got that fun air of mystery to
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome. Also, I don't know what I did, but this is working really well now. I just like, I guess complaining about it enough maybe helped
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
now running
computers can
pretty
smell
fast.
fear, and when they detect animosity, they
Yeah.
will.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the fuck I did, but it's actually running great now. Cool. I'm gonna just fucking deep.
Just
I'm gonna live with this because this is good. I think it was all these weird references to the old production server name. It's not running like it's still running as well
right,
as it ever
right.
did, which is not great. But
Not great.
holy Jesus, this is. I'm taking Thursday and Friday off. I put
You've
in a
earned it.
full 2 days of
Yeah.
I literally did. Like I put in a full 2 days of work this weekend because I was working for like 2.5 hours Friday to do all the migration.
No, I'm
Um,
not gonna have that be the
and
last
then
edge.
Saturday was like a 10-hour day doing this, and I've been working for a few hours today now,
Oh,
just like doing the thing, and I'm gonna do some testing and debugging to make sure this is working because holy shit, this is annoying.
yeah.
But
So
like
I gotta pick a color for this turtle tower.
I knew how to do animation instead of this thing. This thing is like boring and
Well, unfortunately,
stupid.
animation doesn't construct
I do
any
I
databases where we can
Yeah,
store
well,
customer information. And yeah.
this is the thing that
Oh,
pays the bills.
yeah. It
So
pays the bills. Yeah, this doesn't pay my bills. Being a
I
receptionist pays, at least for now.
that's yeah. Oh,
My
that's fine.
company's nice, but I don't trust anybody because I'm
Yeah,
emotionally damaged. So,
I understand.
I suspect that there could be a time when they realize, hey, we don't need a receptionist anymore. We don't have a building. Um, they're
Right.
not like they haven't. They're not like that. They try and they're more willing to change what a person's job is than to let someone
Mhm.
go. And we did have a lot of
That's
people leave, so
that's good.
it'll probably be okay. But I'm just always in the back of my mind going like, okay, what's gonna go wrong?
Yeah, that's legit. I mean, you get worried about that stuff and like um
Should I draw the
I
little
don't know.
circles on this thing?
It's easy to
Yeah,
get, especially nowadays, it's easy to get nervous about it
yeah.
because we're definitely in that late stage
Oh
collapse
yeah.
part of
Oh yeah.
capitalism.
Isn't that
It's
fun? It's
great.
here.
It's very fun. I
How many
love
years do I
it.
get before I get to die in the uprising?
Right,
I keep dying in
exactly.
PvP on Destiny. Imagine it's gonna be like that. I'm not very good. I don't have very good reaction time. I'm
Okay,
probably
so
better help just.
now this other database is running real. So I wonder if it is that. I wonder if it is that DNS aliasing. It seems to not like that. Like
Could be.
that seems to cause a lot of problems, and I think I'm gonna try to fix all that. Oh look, I'm doing the thing I said I didn't want to do, and re-referencing everything. It's very cool that our we wasted lots of time doing all of this bullshit. Whatever. At least I discovered that the new version of Access has like a 2% better um,
Yeah.
version, a way of relinking
Oof.
tables. It's not great, but
This
it's better
background's
than
not
what I
good.
was
This
doing.
background's not
So,
good.
ooh, I love this. I love my hate.
Look
But
at them
find the issue.
chompers.
Yeah. Well, that's Baleen.
Look at
Yeah,
them baleen.
It's
I love
Baleen.
that design.
Blech.
And hi, Bucky. How are you?
Hello,
Good.
Bucky.
I've been hanging for a second, but I didn't want to interrupt. I'm
Oh,
eating
it's
Yeah,
pumpkin
okay.
I
bread.
heard you drop in
We're
and
both
saw
just gonna be
you.
doing the thing where we just yell
Yeah,
at stuff.
Sylphing.
I'm still working
Selfing. We're
on
just gonna be selfing.
I put in 10 hours yesterday working on this shit, and I'm still working on this shit. I got the one really problematic database to work pretty well, and now I'm working
We
on the
wrote a
other.
call out post about it. We got it canceled.
Oh, I
Oh,
wish.
Cole's
Son
in
of a
chat.
bitch.
Hi, Cole.
Hi, Cole. Good
Hello, Cole.
morning. Cole, how are you doing? You were also in Smokeland, so
Oof. Just,
at least it's a little
I'm
cooler today, so I don't have to suffer quite as much.
I'm now just doing the thing I said I didn't want to have to do in the beginning. Like, oh, let's just change this. You know, the funny thing is, if we just changed the server name, this actually would have all gone fine. Which is just the
Oh
funniest,
my
most ironic thing ever. Like,
God, it's
we
literally
could have
like
done
we could just name
like
this thing
if
exactly the same as the other thing.
that was literally the original plan, and it's like, no, we gotta preserve the old server in case we want to go back to it. But
No.
now it's broken, like it's just crashed, and it probably won't come back up again. And I'm just doing the thing anyway, so that's neat, and I love
I
it.
don't
I
like the
love
what's
it.
wrong with the composition here?
Okay, cool. Let me.
We're just gonna do backgrounds today. I don't know if you heard that, Bucky, but I'm just gonna be doing the backgrounds of the shots that have been roughed out. And
Good, cool.
yeah, yeah. And I might think about posting the intermission soon. 'Cause that's
Nice.
gonna happen before Resolve can
Really,
come out.
really looking forward to that. I
Yeah.
recommended Act 8 on the Rosemary server that I'm on.
Yeah,
Um,
because we got all the rosemary.
yeah,
And more. We're gonna
and,
have more rosemary.
and also they're not giant fans of the epilogues and Homestuck 2, as you might imagine from
Oh,
people that
what? What? Are you, what?
Wonder why.
What? That
So I
sounds.
did mention that you're working on the intermission that kind of like addresses that directly,
Right.
which is
Maybe we should
cool.
hide and see this real quick so I can see what I'm doing. Seeing what I'm doing, that's ridiculous. I don't need
That's
real artists
just
don't need to see what they're doing. I
silly
know we
I
talk
would.
talk.
about the epilogues every week. We have this thread every week, comrade. But like,
Required.
unfortunately, they
We
are the
must talk
context,
about
yeah,
it.
in which everything is going on. So,
I I was laughing at your you don't artists don't need to see what they're doing because I was just thinking about how when I did my like that alt self thing,
yeah.
a piece of art, I finished it very late at night when all of my like blue light filters were on and I
Oh
was
yeah.
so tired I didn't want to turn them off, so I was just kind of guessing,
Yeah. It's like
but it
watercolors.
turned
I
out
don't know.
okay.
I don't know what colors are.
I don't need to know what they are. It looks
It
fine.
looks fine.
That was
I
a
had a
really
limited
cool picture.
palette.
Of it.
Thanks. It was
Yeah,
mostly because I
yeah.
used the Hope palette ahead of time and I already had my colors planned out. But yeah, it was fun. I don't draw super duper often, but when I do, I have a little fun with it. It's a
It's
little
nice.
hobby.
It's nice. Sometimes things can just be
Uh,
hobbies. They don't have to all be. Because I've
yeah,
been thinking about like how much I don't like or can't relate to a lot of like the big art advice channels like Bobby Chu or whatever that I used to watch, and I realized no, this is kind of this is pointless because like they're all like, oh, go get a job at Disney or Pixar, the two places. Oh wait, the same company now.
yeah,
So, um, I cannot relate to that. That's so fucking impossible. So I'm perfectly happy just working on my projects as a hobby, even though I have to give up basically everything else about like my life. I get to work and then have this, but I mean it's worth it because this is what I want to do, and I don't want to have to do it in the context of like the fucking media nightmare that is the Disney Corporation. So
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's kind of where I am, where I'm like, I like doing my writing and like the visual art I do occasionally as like a hobby, but it can't be my main squeeze because like I I don't think that I don't think that I'm gonna be doing a job that's like meaningful or like the point of my life. I think the point of my job is to make money so I can
yeah,
eat.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And like ideally you'd be in a situation where work exists to facilitate the continuation of society,
that would
not
be
the
nice. Oh, that'd be
fulfillment of
nice. Oh,
capital.
oh, I
That'd be
cannot
cool.
wait. I
Would
cannot wait
be
to be
cool.
working on New Game Plus. I am so hype. I am so
Yeah, me
excited.
too.
It's gonna be
I've,
so
I've,
Just
I've
gonna
been
fun.
concentrated funnel of ideology sniffs.
so I used I think I
Yes,
mentioned this
please.
to Bucky, I believe. I used that Jade Kanaya fic that I did for the Jade zine as sort of like a as kind of like a test
Can I
bed
just do
for New Game Plus because it's literally all dialogue. Um,
this?
and I think that that's the kind of Jade that I want in New Game Plus, like that kind of introspection combined with a little bit of it still being kind of naive, but being willing to be very like introspective. Because I think that would work well for
Jade is a
where we're
very
going.
interesting character. Not a
She
lot of
is.
people get well, I fucked that up. The nuance of what's kind of going on with her, because she's incredibly technical. She's
Hmm.
got a lot of very practical technical information. That's kind of like the foundation of how she as a person operates. She knows like how reality fucking is. Like
Right.
she's basically a physicist, and like she's got no illusions ever about what's going on necessarily.
Right.
But that doesn't like life is unfair, and people like can't get up to speed with her on a lot of things, or if they are, they're very self isolating people like Rose. So she ends
And
up like her isolation is both like a circumstance of the plot, but also like on a sort of metaphorical level, it's something that would happen to this kind of person who's very
yeah,
emphasize like always emphasizing the practical thing to do and ignores her own needs. Sorry to go off about
yeah,
Jade. It's just she's the best.
I think that's true. Like she's got this kind of like it's one of those like your emotional intelligence and maturity doesn't just like level up because you're good at technical stuff.
Yeah,
Like
and
that's something
she
that
seems
is
very emotionally mature because she's very
she
generous and
is
she knows how to like
right.
be gracious to other people and she's got a good like moral compass of how people should behave.
Right. And at the same time, she doesn't have she doesn't have the experience with living living with people and like interacting with people that is required to build up those skills. Not that she cannot,
Yeah.
but that she has not. And like that's I think that's an interesting character to look at because it's not the like genius who can't relate to people stereotype. But it's more
She's
like
not
somebody that
Rick.
hasn't had the opportunity to learn how to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. She's not Rick.
She's
Exactly.
not Rick. Enough Ricks.
I
Enough of
don't.
them. We're done. I don't
It's
want
not.
any more.
Society has evolved
Stop it.
past the need
Yeah,
for
because
Rick.
if you're a very smart girl, you are not allowed to be that guy.
Yeah, I
No, you are
agree.
like, and you don't have to be out as a girl either. Like, it's
Right.
just if you're not uh just this crap, this shitty cis guy, then you're you will live in a society Joker face, Joker meme movie, Joker
Right.
movie. So you're obligated it, to have this like you're aware of your obligation to other people, your very basic obligation and connection to other people.
Right.
So then it's going to be about like, oh, am I or am I not, capable of doing that? And you kind of feel, more
Mhm.
profound loneliness, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's true. And like and the thing is that Jade, the way that she's portrayed, it's not something that she revels in. It's something that hurts, and
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to look at how she would deal with that. Um, and I
Let's
feel
see.
a
Let's see.
lot of identification with her in general, both like, I mean, the whole like being kind of isolated and not like doing people great, but not through a lack of want, but through a lack of opportunity in a lot of
Right.
cases.
Right.
Um, and like, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an interesting. She's an interesting character. I really strongly identify with her, and I like exploring her as a character that is able to grow beyond that idea. Also, I
Yeah,
really
she's
hate
able
the
to learn like she can be independent, she can have her own needs. People
right,
will appreciate her without her having to constantly adjust, like define her trajectory around like others
right,
and quote unquote the plan. She can.
exactly. I also super don't like the idea that that she's just like inherently destined to be alone forever because it's
Fuck
like
that. Yeah,
similar to most space
no.
players. Like
Almost looks weird.
yeah, it is. And
Almost
like
looks
both
weird.
her and Kanaya have that same kind of they both have that same characterization
You got a
actually.
destiny, deal with it, and they're just the space players supposed to be like, oh, okay, but then
Right.
Which is weird because Andrew Hussey told us he thinks he's a space player.
what does he think his destiny is? I don't want to know any more about this man.
Andrew Hussey is something else
I
entirely.
don't
I
want
don't
to
know
know
what
anymore. I don't want to know.
he's his own
He's his
thing.
own thing. I can't. I'm gonna.
Uh,
I can't. I can't know. I'm not allowed.
yeah,
Where does he use
I
the?
don't like
Ooh,
that.
I don't like that. Does
And
he think his
yeah,
destiny is to like be fused at the hip with Homestuck forever and constantly like deal with it, because that's not, you don't have to do that, buddy. You could quit.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's why the
exactly.
stupid statement thing where he was like, "Yeah, I have to drag you all along with me into being better people." Maybe that's why he did it, because he thinks he's inexorably tied to
No, you're
Homestuck
not.
for
You're
some
not.
reason.
That's not a
Yeah.
healthy attitude. Like you think, because that's then there's this assumption that I'm, at least other people make this, that I'm here because I feel compelled. Like I feel like, oh, there's a force compelling me. Why is the
Right.
eraser like that? I know it's that way because I made it that way, but now I'm mad about it. So, um, me at myself, who shot Hannibal meme, who made the eraser like this. What the fuck was I saying? I'm not here because like I'm forced to be. I'm not trapped here.
Right.
Um, anyone who feels like they're trapped here, they should maybe think about that.
Yeah, I agree. Like if you're in a community, like you should be in the community because you want to be, not because
Right.
you feel like you have to be. Um I think that Homestuck as a fan community has a few issues that it should probably address, but I find enough value in at least some parts of the community that make it worth sticking around for me.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't have to deal
yeah,
with the shit parts. I mean, I have to. I guess like I can't just ignore the shit parts, but that would be
it's
true of anywhere in life in this fucking
right,
country. So I mean,
exactly. Like, yeah, they're relevant, of course, but like also that doesn't have to define your
exactly,
experience
that
in
doesn't define me.
that's why I get so weirded out by the people that are like very committed to just being like persistently negative, I guess,
Yeah,
um, about Homestuck or about the Homestuck fandom specifically. Like you're like this, like it's all this big war that they're fighting, and they're always engaged in these battles, and it's like that seems exhausting, and also it seems terrible.
it's not worth it.
Like I wouldn't want to be in that kind of position
Ugh, I
actually.
hate when I reach the upper like gamut of Photoshop. I'm like, I need a brighter pink, please, and it's like, no, get out of here. I'm like, but, and it's like, nah.
That's something I find frustrating with when I had the revelation that color grading in video is just what I do with photographs but moving. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that's really cool. I actually understand this. Like I know how to do this because I've done it for years. But then I realized, oh, also I don't have the dynamic range I get from raw files. Oh shit! Like I've got to be much more mindful
hmm
of the footage I'm taking. Well, in my footage, it's not so big a deal because I try to
That
like
sucks
balance
too.
things out. But sometimes other footage that's not
We'll
taken on
just
good
go with it.
cameras,
We'll just go with it
it's not easy to color
though.
grade.
Right. Eh. I gotta paint this chalk. I gotta
And
paint it.
actually, this is working way better than I thought it would. I'm kind of just going through and like optimizing stuff at this point.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not fucking doing this again.
So sometimes, not all the time, because whenever I'm not getting a lot of attention, people just don't give a shit, which is ideal. It's the ideal situation for me.
Right, right,
But
right.
sometimes people do talk shit about Act 8, like on Twitter. I get talked
Like,
about.
for what reason?
Like
Like, what
Gamzee,
about
oh,
that?
pretty
Oh, of
Gamzee,
course, because
or
Gamzee's
like when
not.
I draw the like I don't draw araciality or I don't draw people skinny. So there's like everybody
It's
like both sides, quote unquote sides. That's very reductive of the fandom. Kind of treat me like shit. So,
yeah, it is.
um,
Get what you mean though. Like
Yeah,
there's everybody seems to, you can't please everybody, and some people go out of their way to find shit they don't like.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Which again, like you can just not engage with it. That is
Oh no,
always an
I
option.
don't engage, but I do like. There's this
Oh,
weird
I'm not
idea like,
talking about
haha.
you. I'm
Oh,
talking about
yeah,
them.
the
Yeah.
hypothetical.
Oh,
Um,
you're good. I've seen it
thank
also.
you. I
Uh,
try to be good.
but yeah, they don't have to
There's
be like
this
that.
idea that like, what you want will never be canon.
Doesn't
So you're
matter.
obviously like tormenting yourself, or you're
Oh
obviously
yeah.
like just to have an unhealthy relationship, because what you want will never be canon. Canon will never be me. I'm sorry, all right? Like, they should worry about that.
Yeah,
I
like you're the one who's
don't-
putting in all the
right, like,
fucking
I
effort right now.
Oh my god. I'm
I
perfectly happy being
don't
myself and
like
canon being canon.
I don't like canon right now, and I can't see myself liking it. Like I can't see outside of the kind of major changes that I would make, which we've discussed previously. I can't see myself liking canon. Like if it's gonna just continue being what it was in the epilogues, like playing it straight, then like I don't like it. I disengaged with it literally 5 months ago now. Holy crap!
Yeah. I stopped reading updates back in like sometime in the middle of Act 6, because I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
get
fair.
what's going on here, and it's
Yeah,
kind of not great. But
but
yeah, the
I
experience
can.
has a lot of longevity, because it does, for its credit, like enlist you in engaging with it in a very deep way, and I'm
Yeah.
always down for that. So I'm here to do that. It's just, I don't really accept a lot of the other like philosophies that I guess it has, and there's no obligation for me to do that, because I
No,
don't
of
need to
course.
be. I don't need anything I want to be canon. I'm perfectly like happy that being totally separate.
Yeah, I agree. That's the healthy thing
It
is
is.
to
It's just the healthy thing to do.
disengage when it hurts you to engage with it, and like
Yeah.
that's completely fair. I've done a lot of writing that is designed to basically reconcile my own feelings about Homestuck in a way um that I find more satisfying, and at
Right.
least a few people have engaged with it. So cool. I guess I'm not the only one. Um, one thing I was thinking about that I want to do eventually, and I'm going to have some fun with this, is um, I did mention in the latest Born and Want story that Dirk exists. Dirk is a thing in Earthsea.
Oh,
He's
it's
the
Dirk
person.
time. Time for
I want to
Dirk.
do. I want to compare the Dirk that's just regular and like is growing as a person, to the alt Dirk.
Yeah.
Like because alt Dirk is
Yes.
definitely a character in this story. He's just a character that has no power whatsoever. Like I took all of his power, and the only power he has is to talk. And the only people he can talk to are Alt Calliope, me, and at one point Vriska. Um, and that's it.
That's
And none
it,
of us
buddy.
particularly like him very much. Uh,
A fitting retribution, I think, for
right,
his
like his
behavior. Though I will say that like alt Dirk does not resemble Dirk to me. It
he
resembles a
does
caricature of a very specific kind of like very negative person, that like whose problems are not
yeah,
really what Dirk's problems were. They're
exactly.
simpler problems that are more relevant to some unpleasant people that I guess the writers have been dealing with, but they're not Dirk's problems. And
Right.
I don't really, I sound like a fucking asshole. I do not give a shit about Reddit chuds. I don't want to read about them. I don't want to read about them
Yeah,
in
I don't
stories. I
either.
just don't
That's
give a fuck. They're boring to me. Their problems are boring to me. Their opinions are boring to me. They're
right.
boring villains to me. I don't give a shit. What I
Well,
give, I want to
that's
relate to people, even the villains in the story. I want them to be very compelling and interesting and fun to spend time with. And
right.
you could write a villain as Dirk that is absolutely that, but not just like, we're gonna talk about Reddit fans, the fans on Reddit now. We're
Yeah,
gonna talk about them. I feel no need to do that, even when they're like being very negative towards me.
yeah, I don't either. Like it's completely disinteresting to me. Like you're I there are lots of like awful people on Reddit. Like neat, I get it. Cool.
Maybe creating a character that was like lampooning a specific subset of people and expecting these notoriously virulent people to not get pissed off at you and keep getting mad at the content you create was a bad idea.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think like
it's
you
like,
can
is
curate
it
your
for them? Because then why are you making art for them? Do you think they're gonna
right.
get better? Because like, if something's for if you're trying to help somebody, which you're not, I would think, then I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea.
I agree. I don't jive with that, and I'm not gonna engage with it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not on Homestuck Discord. I'm not on Reddit. I'm not gonna be. I've curated my experience, not completely free of negativity, because there are people that I pay attention to
Don't.
because it
Oh,
affects
okay.
my group in the fandom. But like Reddit isn't part of that.
No.
Like they're their own they're their own gigantic community that I just don't care about. Like I don't know, some of them might engage with my content. I don't know.
Maybe
I
that's
don't
on
really care.
them. That's like them on at an individual level, but that community is not something I want to engage with. We used to post Act Date updates when we first got started to the Homestuck Reddit,
Mhm.
and just every fucking update there was all like just this incessant bitching about the first Flash we did, where like Carcat and Dave are not skinny and not all the characters are white, and it was just every single update, and they started making like pretty fucking racist memes about it, and I was like, okay, I can't, no, I don't want to be in this environment anymore.
We're not doing
And
that.
Macon
That's
was shitty to me about it, so I was like, okay, dude, that's fine. Like,
yeah, exactly.
we're not having a. Do you think this is a conversation? No, I'm gone.
Right, exactly. Like that's the
So,
thing. It doesn't have to be a conversation.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh no, it's
and
nice.
I
It's nicer now when there's more. Sorry, it's nicer now when
oh,
there's
you're
like all these different projects, like burning down the house comic. That looks cool. Yeah, Homestuck Subscript. Some other things I think I've seen.
I'm liking Subscript a lot. I've been
Yeah,
reading that.
yeah. I can't read any of them because they're all gonna hate on Gamzee, and I'm tired. But
I
I wish them the
uh,
best.
I don't know what Subscript's doing with Gamzee. As far as I know, they haven't touched Gamzee yet.
Yeah, because that's another
But
option. You know, you don't have to write about this guy if you don't like him. If you're not willing to like deal with some of the sociological
yeah,
baggage behind this character and be very honestly critical,
my
then you can just not do
my
it if you don't want
engagement with Gamzee of Born of Want was one line about no, actually, I don't even think. I think I like mention him very briefly, but I'm probably not gonna engage with him because I don't feel like being mean about it,
to.
and
Yeah, I
um
have to do
I
shadows
don't
for
really
this.
get DMZ,
That
and
would
I'm not,
be
I
yeah.
haven't put in that effort yet, and I know that, so I'm not gonna try to like,
Yeah, it's totally fair just to not rate it if you don't want to. But a lot of people feel compelled to like, I gotta put this in here to dunk on the fans that I think are reading him wrong, which uh, no, it's been seriously overdue that we consider like why this shit is like this. So your work's not gonna age well. I'm warning you. Um,
hmm,
or just I don't know, like the very fucking weird, gross out shit that Homestuck's doing, because people just they kind of just replicate what they see from official channels. They do.
And that's not very helpful because the official channels don't treat that character very well.
right?
No. Mm.
No, they don't.
I don't treat anybody well. Let's see. We're in the third shot now.
Yeah, well, Jane is a character I didn't really like. I liked her when I read the comic, but I didn't really like get her very much. And then I started to like really kind of vibe with her, and then I wrote 150,000 words about her character. I like Jane a lot. I think she's a really interesting character.
Jane
She's
good.
in Born of Want, and I'm going to probably the next story in that continuity is going to deal with her more because at the end of that story with Terezi, she's basically like, "Hey, Terezi, you can stay over with me until you find your own house." And so like their relationship, I think, is going to be more of a thing because I think that if you're having both of them deal with their actual issues, they both have a lot in common,
They do.
and that's like not talked about a lot.
What
Um,
women at Homestuck can't like have things in common and then have conversations about it because
right.
that's not
So
allowed. Actually, you either have to be
some
talking
way,
to Dave about his feelings or Carcat about his feelings, or
very
they can talk to
important.
each other about their feelings. That's
Very
it.
important. Very important. Yes,
If
yes,
if
yes.
if Terezi and
Absolutely.
Rose have a conversation, it's got to be very adversarial and horny, I guess.
Like yeah,
And then we make a funny Rick and Morty joke about passing the Bechdel test, and I want to die.
ha 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 ha.
God, that was so fucking
Oh,
funny. It'll be very, very much more funny the 50th time. Please do it again. Sorry, I guess I'm mad.
ooh. Oh, I actually have an opening to do something interesting with Gamzee, with how I
Oh.
refer. So the only reference to Gamzee, Gamzee is mentioned. Okay, that's in fucking tags. Never mind. Gamzee is mentioned literally twice in the Born of One AU. One is all Calliope saying, "Speaking of that, what is happening with Gamzee? You were not
Yeah.
long on the specifics." And my response is basically like, I'm not sure exactly, but given all of the logical implications here, it's logical to think that Terezi probably put him on trial for like all of the shit he actually did do, like helping Lord English. But I left myself the opening to deal
Yeah,
with
because that's like fucked
how
up. We're gonna
actually
put a
address.
13-year-old on trial for being manipulated by the literal god of reality.
That's what I was gonna say. I have because I don't say anything else about it. Um, it's I said specifically
That's
is
like a big
associated.
flashing neon light that says Terezi has learned nothing.
Yeah, so actually, it's interesting. I didn't necessarily do this on purpose, but I did it on purpose. Uh, so this is the story that's before Terezi's like big like oh shit moment in the next story,
Mm-hmm.
and actually Terezi is off. It's actually narrative speculation at that point because Terezi is still looking for Vriska, and actually what she did with Gamzee is never addressed. Um, so this is my narrator just like basically like if you think about it, this would make sense. Like I'm not saying specifically this is
Yeah.
what's happened. As I say, specifically his association with an aid of Lord English. It is unlikely, given the testimony of the gods of this world against him, that he will ever see the light of day again. Um, I think I should write a story that actually deals with him,
Oh.
like hiding out somewhere because he knows what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and then have like Terezi, who is, I think I would need another story of Terezi developing or make it parallel to his story, to have her like coming to terms with the fact that her idea of justice is a fucked up one.
It is.
Um,
Why can't
that's
I
definitely
draw
how
this goddamn background? It's not turning out how I wanted.
because the last story in that continuity had her starting to come to terms with that. And like also come to terms with the fact she was using her relationships as a way to
Yeah.
avoid dealing with it. Because that's a universe where Scourge isn't a thing. It's a universe where Vriska's just gone. Like she died in the black hole and moved on. Um, yeah, all Clappy's responses then, but why not mention any of that? And I said, because not everything needs to be a Homeric epic. I feel like
Yes.
if I try to make things too broad, I'll lose focus. Or it'll start feeling like I'm just chucking stuff in there for vaguely defined reasons. And then I said, anyway, you know all of this. You just chose to disregard it.
Alt Calliope. I need Alt Calliope just to be like. She as a character is more fun if you make her very confident in what she's doing, like to the point where it's almost an alien psychology of she just cannot relate. She just does not have concerns that we have.
Right.
And she's very very dedicated to it. What is?
Also,
What do I need?
I should share this because it's cute. So I got two comments on Air to the Listless apparently while I was like working on the database bullshit, and one of them is love the concept of Earthsea cinema being a bunch of Carapacians essentially doing a drunk history version of movies. That is my conception of that universe.
Oh,
All of
that's
the movies are the result of
delightful.
Dave badly explaining movies and then them just running with the concept.
Oh no, because he would fuck with them.
He
Is
did.
the
There's actually a story that deals with him and the mayor. The mayor wants to direct movies, and he basically calls Dave out for treating him like a baby.
oh
It's one of the June Egbert PhD MD Esquire stories, and the whole story or the whole little subchapter is about Dave basically like how he's kind of being a jerk by doing that,
he
and
really
the
is.
character.
Dave's an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm sick of him because I had to draw him like 50 times yesterday. So I'm
The
officially
mayor is
just
basically like,
I'm out
I
for
have an
blood
idea
now.
about
Take it
I
out on
have
the
an
boy.
I am
I
going
have
to.
yes.
This guy is has it coming.
It's basically like I have a story that I want to tell about my people, and like you're just kind of like fucking with us, and because everybody loves you and you're a god, they just run with your ideas. Like, dude, can you fucking stop?
Yeah. Some art is genuine, sir.
Right.
Okay, where are we gonna just? We might just live with that. We might just live with it. Except for it should be. Oh no, what have I done? Oh no, what have I done? There we go. Maybe. Maybe that. Yeah, that's kind of weird that it's like that, but I don't want to put the sky in there. I feel like that is distracting. This will do, I think. And has it moved at all? Hmm. Did I
I'm gonna
switch?
This
I think I
person.
did.
I'm gonna recommend directly that this person read that one June Egbert story, because I do acknowledge that my library of Homestuck fanfic is expansive, and one would not necessarily just pick that out. Um, that specific story is currently buried under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stories, including Plasticine Soul. So it's pretty far down the list.
I'll start filling with adjustment layers, maybe that. Yeah, saturation down actually. I tried it out. It was fine. Okay, well this almost looks like what I wanted, so we're just gonna have to live with that. Perfect, okay. Alright, we have backgrounds for that. Ooh, I get to update the spreadsheet. I can show people the spreadsheet.
Nice. The
The spreadsheet. It's very intimidating, but it'll actually be fine, I think. Maybe.
I like how Cole just said, "Go away, Andrew Hussey."
Go away, Andrew Hussey. That was a while ago, but we just need.
I know
we
it's a
need
while
that.
ago, but
We
it's
need
the
that.
the truth.
So those three are done, and we
The
did that. So
attitude.
now we can do these two, and then that'll be 6 backgrounds done. And I think we're also gonna do these. So I'm gonna put them as in orange, for pretty orange for me to think about later, and then that'll be that done. And I can probably do all that in the next hour, and then the third hour we can rough out. What ones are we gonna rough out? Probably these two. We'll see if we can do that. I don't know if I'll be working on any keys on stream, because they're hard and it's difficult, and I gotta really focus, and that sucks. But
Those
it's
are
important.
like the big bits in between all the little.
Yeah,
in-between crap,
keys
right?
are, because the thing is, keys aren't like just the biggest motions. They're a particular like part of the movement.
So they're keyframes, is what that's.
Keyframes. Yeah, exactly. It's like if you think about when you're doing like the splines,
Hmm.
in
Right.
just any point, there's gonna be a change of direction, or sometimes that's a breakdown, or like the very basic poses that kind of define the motion. So there's a breakdown here, and I'm trying to ask Joy to get like to in between these two,
Nice.
and I'll talk to her about that. And this is just a in between, but I just wanted to kind of get that motion because there was such a like a big distance. I don't want to hand off like, okay, in betweens, if someone's also gonna have to like redraw and like a completely new hand or a complicated rotation. But I am asking her to do that between these two, so unfortunately. And then we also got June in the background doing kind of this movement. And between those two, I'm gonna get help with that. And maybe some of these. I don't know, because the frame rate is much higher on this shot, just because like there's it had to be like it's weird that it can be so low frame rate here, because it's just like this one swipe. Like we don't actually see her hand with the wand she's using to make this attack. It's already off
Right.
screen by the time we get to the next frame. And then she's just kind of settling back, and we take all these probably in between here and here. So we're gonna have like 4 whole frames. 2/3 of the animation is just gonna be settling out of that attack, just recuperating from it.
Nice.
But in here, he's just lifting the sword up. He's just lifting it like over his shoulder to kind of charge in. That's it. And we're having to do so much more to communicate that movement because it's slower, and there's like so many different like breaks. Here the wrist breaks, the elbow goes rigid, then both like the wrist and the elbow kind of change. It's a lot. It's a lot, and it was a nightmare. It took me 2 days.
Mhm.
I got really mad about it. And I have to key this, which I'm hoping will be easier. I know it doesn't look like it's going to be easier, but hopefully it is. Then we've got this, which also took a very long time, because it's an extremely subtle like movement to still keep all the shapes consistent with this shoe. That's going to be fun. And this, thankfully, turned out easier than I thought it would. The sword's going to take a long time to
Yeah.
kind of come down. There's an in-between between this and that where it's all a bit bigger, but yeah.
Nice.
He does
Yeah.
an actual acrobatic pirouette off the handle.
Really enjoying seeing all of this come together.
Me too.
Really
It's
cool.
gonna be so weird to have it actually done. It'll be so
Yeah,
weird.
you won't know what to do with yourself.
I won't. I'll play a lot of video games.
Play a lot of video games. That's such a weird feeling to be done with a big project, like, and you're like, now what?
Yeah. Oh, it won't be now what? Because I know Dune Swept
I
is
know.
next. I got
Yeah.
plans.
And I
Oh.
reiterate my willingness to help write for that.
Thank you.
by the way.
Oh, hell yeah. And thank you, Cole. Yeah, I'm hard on Dave, but he's not a bad character. He's
You're
not a
hard on
bad
Dave
character,
because
and he's
you
not a
care
bad
about
person.
Dave.
I give a shit. I'm hard on Dave
Yeah.
because I give a shit. And unfortunately, he's a teenage boy, and those are bad. So, I just think art is more interesting when it challenges Dave a little bit. I think it's better to Dave to challenge him a little bit, I guess.
I agree.
And I think it probably comes through after all my bitching and moaning that I actually I'm trying to be like have a very loving depiction of every character, including Dave.
I do not like the idea that every character is just, or any character is just this like perfect character that can't do anything wrong and like doesn't need to change or grow, and like that seems to be the attitude towards Dave that a lot of fans have for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but whatever. That's what it is. What it is. And it's that's silly. It's like Dave has his own issues
He's
to
got
address. and, like,
issues. He's got issues. Let him have some issues that are not just, oh, Dirk's a bad person. I have a sad, and that's what I don't really enjoy about Dave. Is he's supposed to be this heavily traumatized guy, and yet he doesn't appear to have any problems.
right.
So I can't relate to that. Like his problems are just sort of implied, but he remains very sanitized as a person in order to remain likable and sympathetic when I don't think that's necessary. So
yeah,
he's just
agreed.
kind of unpleasant. Because I had the same problem with Lapis, which is weird because we're supposed to like spend all this time with Lapis and like how she does have the problems, but then it's like almost the opposite situation where it's just that's all Lapis could be. And it was a very specific kind of depiction of victimhood that I don't fucking jive with, where it's like very much about like the femininity and like the daintiness and the I don't know, it's not, it doesn't work for me because I don't like dealing with my trauma in a feminine way because I'm a weird gender lesbian and it doesn't work for me. So
I know I think I've discussed this possibly on one of these live streams, but because my view of femininity is very different than that, because it's related to my
mhm.
mom and how she presented. Yeah, I didn't really jive with that either because, like, my view of being a woman is in part being able to stand up and be like, no, I'm not going to deal with that, and you know, hold up
Yeah.
against, hold, what am I looking for? Hold fast against those kind of expectations.
Yeah.
Um, like, you don't have to be like that.
You really
And
don't. Yeah.
as a music myself, like I don't like that. I don't like that. Like I found that my life got progressively better the more I said no. I'm not giving a shit about you, the abuser, and what you think. I'm going to live, and like that was how I was able to come back from what I went through.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that that's valuable.
Because like who does and doesn't fit in to that sort of ideal, these ideal victim archetypes,
Mhm.
can determine who fucking lives and dies in real life.
Right.
So I've never liked it. I've always had big problems with how we represent these experiences because it's
Mhm.
so it's there's very little that goes up against like challenging these kinds of compulsions, and that's why I also don't really like how they handled like Terezi, because
Yeah.
she's kind of the same way. She's got this kind of very like idealized, sterilized framework
Yeah.
that, to be honest, is not in like in canon so much. Or at least it wasn't in canon initially for this character. Why is that not?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
feel like it's a very reductive way of looking at
How do you draw
characters.
these clouds from like below? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about it. Well, maybe I'll just, yeah. Characters should be allowed to like have problems that are not apocalyptic. Like in Homestuck, if you have problems, you die,
Yeah.
or don't have problems, or never have had problems. So, which is
Right.
unreasonable and not really a healthy thing to frame your story about entering adulthood around. That's just me though.
Yeah, and I feel like in part, one of the reasons that I don't really like the whole idea of like, oh, this is about teenagers. Like, it's really not in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of the thematic elements that are touched on, but I would say not adequately explored, have to do with themes of like coming into adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
not like growing up as a 13-year-old, but like
Yeah.
coming into adulthood, like you're actually an adult and you're learning how to deal with this stuff. Like, I I um I don't know. I feel like that's something I've always found compelling, in Homestuck, and that's something I've written about a lot because I spent so long in a situation where I wasn't able to grow as a person, like, at all. I basically came out with the like emotional development of like a 22-year-old, but with the total accumulated life experience of a 32-year-old. And 10 years of that was just like unremitting trauma and like working. So I had like a very like older perspective in certain ways, and like I've been through some shit kind of opinion. But like, as far as like dealing with people, I was very much like on the ground floor in a lot of ways, and that was a very weird experience. But like,
Yeah.
it's also one that was very like, oh, when I read this story, it's like, oh, okay, like I these characters feel like they've kind of got that thing going on, like especially if you look at how they would respond after being like pulled out of their lives and then thrown into this this bizarro land scenario for 3 years and then dumped out of it on the other end. That's
Mhm.
one of the reasons I write so much post Act 7 content, is like this would have affected them. And the
Yeah.
idea that they're just like the same is like you don't understand
It's
people.
so weird. Like I would love, you know, more genuine deconstruction of things. Unfortunately, if we did that, we would have to maybe come to some unflattering conclusions.
Yeah,
So,
we would,
yeah.
and but that's also like that's
That's
okay.
cool
Like,
though. I love coming to unflattering conclusions. I am a rage player.
yeah.
It's
Also, like
fun.
none of us wrote Homestuck,
Yeah.
so like it's okay to be like, wow, this thing that I like has these problems. I'm going to address them.
Right.
Like
I love
that's not a
addressing
bad thing,
problems. That's all I ever
right?
want to do is address problems. It makes people sick of me.
that's that's like that's my whole brand when it comes to
Well,
writing.
it's just
Um,
we're selfing.
yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
Bucky, if you're still here. You've been very
I am.
quiet.
I'm just chilling.
You just chilling? Okay, I just want to check on you. Be a good host. Make sure you're having fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm listening. I'm absorbing.
Yeah,
you're
nice.
absorbing. You're like a little
You're
sponge.
you're you're in a call with two people who literally won't stop talking
We
unless
won't.
we are interrupted. So
Yeah. Yeah, I have a disease. It's called being right and being cool. Oh. I might get that coffee and maybe a food in like a second here.
ooh,
Maybe a
I should
food.
consider getting a
You
food.
should
It's
consider
12 o'clock
getting
here.
a food. Um,
Uh,
if I do that, I'll put on some nice, like, relaxing Chrono Cross music again, because that's been getting me through here.
nice.
These clouds suck. Never mind. We're not doing that.
I will probably order a food and
Food.
one unit, one parentheses,
I
one
would
unit
like
of.
one food, please. Can I do that? Ooh, I can't. No. Why am I not allowed?
Yeah,
You know,
so
I should be allowed.
I'm gonna credit this stream with fixing all of the problems.
Thank you. I just had to be the rubber duck. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked, but I was literally working for 10 hours yesterday and was not. I was like, eventually I just got to the point where I'm like, no one else was like responding on the
Oh
on the group
shit.
text for work
No.
because they were done for the day, and I'm like,
Oh, of
you know what,
course.
fuck this, I'm going
Fuck
to fix it
this.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep doing this. Like I would like to do literally anything else. So I signed off and finished watching Westworld. Is what I did.
That's because you're smart. It's because you're thinking with your brain. Oh my god, I have been watching some movies. I will talk about those when I get
Ooh,
back.
what
Because I
movies?
just Wizards, which is an old like weird
I love
animated
that movie.
thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
it was so weird and like whimsical and kind of fun and kind of stupid, and I
It's
think I liked
it's
it.
good.
Um,
Yeah, I watched that when I was a teenager and it really vibed with me. So
yeah.
I like that. It's a weird movie.
Big spoilers, but like the ending confrontation with Black Wolf was like so fucking good.
I remember liking that, although I don't remember the
So
details. So,
funny. But like not just funny, but like meaningful and satisfying.
yeah, no,
The movie
I
didn't
really
try too hard to be anything. It just was kind of
exactly
doing its thing. So that was refreshing.
just was what it was.
This was what
You
it
know?
was, and you could take it or you could leave it.
Exactly.
Um,
I'm gonna order food.
okay. Alright, what am I doing here? What are any of us doing here, you know? If you really think about it.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. No one knows. No one really knows.
Right.
Did I miss a layer? What's going on? Might. Okay, I need to do a little bit more painting.
So my
That's
day is
weird.
going to be. I mean, I guess I fixed most of the stuff I was working on. So my day has gotten a lot less. Oh my god, I'm going to die than it was because I was like, oh shit, I'm just going to
Nice.
be like doing this all day. But no, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, that's kind of what my situation can feel like here. Oh, I've got it. Well, don't worry, I can fix that. Let's put a little bit of that, a little bit there. Ta-da. Okay. Painting. Painting is fun. Yeah, I'm gonna need food here in a second. But I'm painting.
Yay!
I'm fixing layer opacity amounts in
You're
frames.
You're
It's
doing
very
it.
important. I shouldn't be letting myself kind of do this because this is stuff that will be done at the compositing stage and ideally no sooner, but
Yeah.
but
Really,
unfortunately
really
I have no self-control.
That's fine. It happens.
It happens. I'm allowed. I can have a little lack of self-control as a trait.
Yeah. There you go. That's how to look at
That's
it.
how to look at it. Okay, well, doop, doop, doop. Can I see that? Okay, wait, those are not keys. It's the backgrounds that I want. And, okay, we'll do the last three when I get back with some food, and then we'll rough out some shots.
Nice.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay. I will return. Let me put on some. That's a little too loud. And then
I was gonna say I
let's-
don't hear anything, but that's
No,
because I'm not.
It,
I'm
you'll
not-
you'll have it
I
muted
don't get
probably. So
feedback on my
yeah,
voice.
exactly. That's smart.
I'm a genius.
You're a
I wish,
genius.
I
Yes,
wish
you
Discord lets you share audio without sharing.
That would
your
be
screen.
nice. That would be
really
nice.
cool.
But unfortunately, it's like you got to pick one app. It's not.
It's not fantastic.
Okay.
And the streaming on the website's even worse.
It's even
too.
worse. So
It's
let's
not
get
good.
that. Let's zoom in all the way.
Yeah.
Give the folks at home something nice to look at and some nice music. And I will go get my coffee and my bread. I'm gonna eat some bread.
Oh right, bread. Bread
Yeah.
is awesome.
I'll be right back.
Yay.
I'm almost done with my pumpkin bread. I took a.
Ooh yeah.
It's this pumpkin pound cake recipe. I think I dropped it in the food channel and the Willet Discord a while back, but it's very tasty.
That's awesome. I
And
really,
like sour cream.
I like pumpkin based bread type products a lot.
I used to when I was in college and there was like a Starbucks cafe in like it was in the library, so I would like go hang out there and get like an Earl Grey tea latte and like a slice of their pumpkin bread or whatever, and that was like my thing for a while. And I was like, you know what, I can just fucking make pumpkin bread if I miss that. I don't have to go to Starbucks. I don't have to wait even
Yeah.
for fall to roll around.
Yeah. That's awesome. Just I'm gonna order some food. Yeah, I have been all over the place. Like I was working a whole lot yesterday. I finished watching Westworld. I think I went to bed at 4 in the morning. I slept not great, and then woke up and did more work today. And then I guess all of a sudden, like all of the issues kind of got resolved all at once. So I'm feeling a little weird right now. So
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know.
That doesn't sound very fun.
It wasn't very fun. I'm glad that the thing is fixed, and I am absolutely taking 2 days off to compensate for the literal 2 days I spent working this weekend. So that's neat. I don't know. Last few days, last couple of weeks have been kind of weird in general. it's been like a combination of like getting stuff done and like weird personal stuff happening. So that's always fun. Which I won't talk about extensively on stream here, but we've talked about the stuff in the past. So, but I don't know. Getting the things done. A lot of Homestuck projects I've been finishing.
The person who organized the well, I got message.
What's that? You cut out for a second.
I got messaged by somebody from a project that I left.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll just save it for later.
Yeah, that's fair. God.
Just a little treat for me for later. I need to double check whether or not they actually want money for me to add this.
That's such fucking bullshit. Like, that's why you gotta be like that.
Alright, now I'm back.
Hey, Momo's back.
Alright, how many incriminating things did
Don't
you say?
worry.
I was
You
gone.
didn't tell them the disturbing secret.
Okay. As long as you don't tell them about the disturbing secret. I would hate for that to happen. It's so secret, not even I know what it is.
You're right, exactly.
Music is still too loud because they didn't volume adjust between the tracks on this video.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that.
That's good. That's definitely good.
That's what I want. Oh, I'm gonna look at my Twitter notifications,
Right.
which I shouldn't
I'm-
do.
Shouldn't do that. I'm just in the process of ordering food right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. Order food.
Oh no, it looks like I can add it to other servers. It just like it wants more money from me for other things.
Ah, of course. They wanted the money. As one does.
God, we just keep living in a society.
Well, the society in this case
Yes.
isn't the problem. It's the specific mechanisms
Mm,
by which the
society's
society
always-
wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Society is just a delivery mechanism for problems.
Yeah, right.
All right, you fucking rage player.
Well, am I wrong?
That's a very loaded question.
Sorry, they're the only kind of questions I can ask.
That's fair. Okay.
Okay.
You can have that.
I can have one as a treat.
Uh-huh.
Let's open another file. What? We can do that? Yay! Okay.
Fine. Whew. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. So I got
I
this coffee.
didn't sleep well last night.
Me
It's like,
neither.
just when I was the weekends, specifically Friday and Saturday, are the days when the kids don't have bedtime because I don't care and
Right.
they don't have school, so
Yeah.
whatever. And so they were, of course, up at 4 in the morning, being loud. And so I was like just getting to sleep, and one of them was like yelling about some dumb shit, and I was like, "What? What? Why are you this loud?" And he's like, and my daughter's.
I think it's fair to be like, you can manage your yeah.
No.
I think it's fair to be like, you can manage your own time on the weekends, but you still have to be respectful of like other people.
Yeah, they're at an age where they don't really completely get that, and that's frustrating, but also like unavoidable.
Yeah.
So that's fun? Question mark.
Question mark.
Yeah, it's a thing. They're definitely getting to that teenage. Well, one of them is a teenager, but the other one's almost a teenager, pretty much. Like she's 11 and a half
I
now.
want a background for this. Maybe I do. No, I think just the blue will be fine. I can change my mind about that if I want. We don't need a background for that, so I can go ahead and mark these off as done for no reason, because we don't even need them.
Good.
This might be a little bit more. We need some sky in here, so. I am so sick of working on this at this point, though. Like,
I
truly.
completely understand.
But
I love the way this is looking. Also, this shot in particular.
yeah, this is gonna be very exciting.
No, you do some really cool stuff with your work. That's clever, and I like it.
Thanks.
So
It's
yeah.
important to be able to keep working on something after you reach that point of I hate this, because like anything worth doing is gonna be difficult to do. So you gotta be able to find a way to get past that point of this sucks. Or like I'm tired of this and I don't want to do it anymore, because that's gonna happen like in anything that's not extremely simple,
Yeah.
because we're cursed with dumb monkey brains.
Right.
that
And
don't
like,
wanna do
or
shit.
If you leave something for a while and then come back to it too, like I recently went back to writing the Briss Resi wedding fic because
Oh.
like another person commented on it being like, "Hey, when's this gonna be finished?" And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do
Right
that
now. Right now.
So it's not gonna be long. I think it's gonna be like 2 more chapters.
Sweet.
So I say it's not going to be long. She says it's already 4,000.
Oh my god.
Janaya.
Janaya. That's very you. That's very you.
But
But we wouldn't have it any other way.
But like actually, so I started this out as kind of as it's in the Forever After AU, so it's the one where Vriska like spends 900 years in the black hole.
Mhm.
And it was supposed to primarily be a fluff piece.
As
the
one
first-
as it typically is when you're spending 900
Yeah.
years in a black hole.
Well, no, this is several. This is like a year after.
Oh,
that.
okay.
So
I
this-
see.
this
I
is-
see.
it-
I
it's
see.
an interim story. It's
Pardon me.
part
I am
6 out-
being a jackass. But that's
it is
what I got.
part. It's halfway through. It's literally halfway through. It's part 6 of 12 of the series. Yeah, so the way that AU works is now, because I wrote the Vriska story first and then went back and wrote like 9 prequels, basically. I'm sorry, 3 prequels. So the first story is the June coming out story. The second one is the one that deals with like Jade and Terezi's relationship, and that doesn't go great. Oh, I'm sorry, no. The second one is a Rose and it's a Rosemary like Phil piece. Dealing with Kanaya not having to be like closed off to everybody.
Right.
Then the one about Vriska or Terezi and Jade. Then Vriska trapped in the black hole. Then the one that's the time loop story where everybody dies a bunch.
Sorry, I laughed, but I mean, those are fun. Those are always
No, the
fun.
description of it is like, yeah. That's the Vriska doesn't understand how to make up to people and it keeps causing problems one.
Problems.
And then the wedding fic, which is like implied at the end of it. And I was gonna be like, so the first chapter is like Vriska, and I there's a Vriskan Rose Resi polyam thing that
Nice,
happens
nice.
later on, and so I dropped some stuff about like how they interact with each other, like them flirting with each other a little bit, and like so the first is about like Vriska and like self-image stuff, and then the second chapter was Terezi, and it was unfinished, and it's basically just like Terezi kind of like just kind of being like opening up and just kind of like being fun.
Yeah.
And then the third chapter, which is the only one that I hadn't written any of prior to like spending several months not writing this, And so I was like, my writing has developed, interestingly enough, in the time since I wrote this, and so it's less fluff than I had anticipated. Like, so it ended up being a conversation between Rose and Dave,
Mm.
because they didn't talk a whole lot in this AU, or like at all. I don't think. So
Yeah,
I
and
was
they're
gonna,
siblings, and they have a pretty cool
yeah,
relationship. So yeah, I would want to, if I was gonna make, I guess, more post-canon stuff that's not Act 8, maybe like stuff that's more curated for the modern era, so to speak.
right.
I would want to get into that relationship because what the fuck is going on in Homestuck 2 where Dave's like, blah, 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 Dirk, Dirk, Dirk. What's like, my fucking sister is gone. I need to fucking help her. Where is that?
Right. And,
Wait,
and
does Dave
actually,
care about anybody?
so the version of Dave that I'm getting into in this AU, and I do touch on it a few times, and I should probably write a story that's more about him specifically, but like a version of Dave where he's kind of come to terms with himself as a result of like having to basically live. He's had to live through a lot more like perceived time than a lot of the others, and the idea that he's like eventually come to understand that like he is who he is, and like that's kind of just whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
So his attitude is a little more like even keeled, but there's a reason for it. And the exchange I have is basically like Rose is having internal monologue about like her feelings about her life and her relationships. And Dave is kind of just like, hey, things are going to be whatever they are. Like at the end of the day, that's like, you can't control other people, and maybe like don't act like you have to. So I think one of the angles,
That
I think
passive
I kind
motherfucker
of,
would say that.
like,
I say
that.
being too.
I feel like I'm gonna deal with this eventually.
Yeah.
But for now, I think one of the things I wanted to sort of lean into was the idea that Rose has a tendency to try to control too much, and I feel like in Homestuck epilogues, there's the whole like she's becoming her old self, which I really don't love, because I feel like that's like the worst thing that could happen to her. Like I think that the thing that would be best for her is for her to back down from that idea that she has to control everything, and like give up some of that. And then that's like a lot of what this AU kind of deals with. Like her plot line with her and Kanaya in the time loop story has to do with the fact that her alcoholism isn't just a wacky character flaw, but like is the result of deep-seated trauma.
Yeah.
And is something that could actually kill her if she doesn't accept that she needs to like get help with this. And the idea is that her and Kanaya's relationship can be mutually supportive instead of being either coded as just being perfect for no reason, or like one of them is bearing all of the weight.
Yeah, Rose had to be her own parent pretty much. So, I mean, that's a lot of what's going on there. And that sucks, but like it's hard to tell that person that, oh, you don't have to be in control of the time, because she learned through experience that that's not true, because she already had to be the adult in her life and her situation. So it's weird. It's hard to come down on that. Not that I disagree. I actually agree, but
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I love her. She's such a complex character. We don't like. We could we could do so much with her as like a protagonist of this sort of thing, but she, unfortunately, like, I don't think Homestuck quite knows what to do with her or what to do about her. It kind of knows who she is, but then it just kind of gets confused. But thankfully, I relate to her so much, so I got some ideas, and we're gonna see them. Also, I think we might have Alice in the chat. Yes or no? If so, hello, Alice. And yeah, Cetus, I'm very happy with how the Cetus design turned out.
I really like the Cetus design.
Mhm.
It's very cool.
It's what I wanted. It's a little unsettling, it's spooky, it's a little bad to look at with your eyes, which is ideal.
I'm really I'm looking forward to Resolve, of course. Like I think I've mentioned this before, but like to fangirl a little bit, that the unfinished Resolve was one of the things I ran into when I was looking for more Homestuck content.
Aww.
And I was like, wow, that's really amazing. I hope it's finished one day.
Aww.
Foreshadowing.
I never thought I would, and then I am, and I'm very excited about it.
Really glad to see that. But
Yeah.
but also I'm really looking forward to the intermission. Partly because I get to just live read
Yeah.
the narrator for a whole bunch.
It's gonna be good. I think. I hope. I should probably post that to like start posting it today. Finish the writing today after the stream.
That would be great. We've actually started live reading Alpha Halcyon Epsilon. So I think we'll probably...
No, go for that. Make sure to finish that before we resume, because yeah, it's gonna take me a while.
I was just gonna say, I think that we'll probably finish that, and then once you've posted all of the, either when we finish or when you finish posting the intermission, we'll read that. Because that way we can kind of like go through all of it at once, which I think would be cool. Also, I love the fact that I get to basically just be like bad Lemony Snicket when they're
Oh yeah, that's it. It's just bad Lemony Snicket.
It's just evil Lemony
It's such
Snicket.
a hard thing to write because it's about this relationship that the fandom and the canon has, and it's so hard to engage with that because there's so much like really, really weird bad faith manipulative stuff going on.
I think one of the reasons I dig reading it like that is that I tend to write my own narration sort of like that, but like the not evil version.
Exactly.
Good
Lemony
like I
Snicket.
take a very conversational tone with the audience and a very like, we all know what's going on here, right? Kind of tone. Like all of the narrator insert stuff I've written where it's just me is very like, it's very self-aware in the way that like I'm not trying to pretend I'm like a different character. I'm just like, hey, I'm me, and like I'm interacting with these characters, but also like I know that I'm being watched by the audience, and like I'm aware that I have a life outside of this too.
That's
So,
important.
It is important.
Because Hussy's little caricature causes some problems for things, unfortunately. There's probably going to be a snake there, so I probably don't have to draw anything there, but I'm gonna anyway. There's like, you really have to handle it like you're dealing with hazardous fucking waste. It is so messy and bizarre and frankly unhealthy. Like there's a reason things are fucked up around here. Which is fine because I've been inoculated, so it doesn't like cause me personally a lot of problems, except for when I have to deal with other people who are not like immune to propaganda. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it's a meme, so I'll say it. But I still have to, at the very least, if I'm going to be so engaged, address the reality of the situation, even if I'm personally like have found a way not to be. Like I just like I resent and I resist all the fucking browbeating, but it's still happening. So yeah, it's complicated. That's why I've really struggled with it, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah, there's a lot... There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot to think about. Which is not necessarily a good thing. It's just a true thing.
It's just that sometimes that's how it is. It's just a thing. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say that all the backgrounds are done, so now we can start. Oh, we have to start ripping out shots. I don't wanna, but I will. So now we can show that process. Let's just save that and close that. Everyone got to see, I hope, these ones kind of fully animated. And we're gonna have a background, like, this is gonna pan around, so It's gonna be kind of like.
Okay. So I love autocorrect. I'm writing your text in my work chat here, and
Mhm.
I'm writing without crapping out. I misspelled it, and the suggestions are crappy and crappies.
What?
Also, I don't know. I also don't know
What?
why, but it keeps autocorrecting that to they spelled THAY, which is definitely not a word. Like, why would you make that an autocorrect suggestion? It's literally not a word.
I. The, I don't know. It's probably some machine
Crapping
learning.
is a word, god damn it. It's autocorrected
Uh,
to crapping.
uh,
To use the technical
shots
terms.
template. Oh wait, before we do that, I want to talk about this fucking sword.
Yeah.
Thankfully, someone has made a 3D model of this sword, so
Oh, nice.
I'm able to like open it up and turn it around in space and use that as reference when I draw.
That's really
I should probably credit it somehow. It's not like I'm. I mean, I'm using it a lot just to figure out like how that sword is gonna look at the different angles, but
sword reference.
yeah, sword
fine.
reference. Yeah.
As one.
It does take it takes a lot to keep these shapes really rigid. This goddamn shoe also took all day just to get, because there's like lots of detail and you want to keep the forms really specific for a very subtle movement. That's surprisingly really fucking hard. This is way harder to do than like this. Like this is way easier than this fucking shoe.
Server dude just messaged to say he was on site trying to get the other server back up and running. It's like, dude, just
No.
let it die at this
Mhm.
point.
Mm. Oh no.
Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Let it die.
Let it
all that
die.
good stuff.
Do we want 7, 8, 9? I think we want 7, 8, 9. Okay. Ta-da. So here's
God, that
my...
is off my brain to not have to deal with this. I think I'm done with the server shit. Oh, I feel better.
Nice.
Oh, he's saying just in case we need it. Yeah, dude, good luck with that. I'm not
Have fun.
solid getting paid.
So, these are my, this is my file layout. It's got this little bit in the middle that's the actual, width and, like, the ratio of the scene. I've got these things up here that I haven't actually been using. Normally I would be, in an ideal world, if I wasn't trying to kind of really rush, I'd be labeling my keys and my breakdowns by number, so it would be easier for people to open this up and work on it, to do the colors and the in-betweens. But, nope, I'm a lazy bastard. It's not happening. So I've got this on top, it's got the frame, and the shot, like, and I can write the shot number here into the group layer. This would be 7. Yep, this would be 7.
I don't know. 15 hours, 16. What? No, I put in this. 2 hours, 10 hours, 12. Yeah, I put in at least like 15 to 20 hours.
Yikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
I want my boss to try to say you have to take vacation to take off Thursday and Friday. As I put in 15 to 20 hours into the server stuff this weekend, I'll take off Thursday and Friday. Not gonna do Monday and Tuesday because those are gonna be the days where I'm making sure that the server doesn't break.
Because it will, if it smells fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I spell? It's weird because animation uses such a spatial part of your brain that I then would like tab over and try to write in a language, and I can't do it.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what words are anymore. I possibly never knew.
Brain hard.
Brain hard to do. I don't like it.
I feel like completely worn out. This like I haven't done anything like creative this weekend. I've done work and watched television. Well, that's not true. I did some notes for an upcoming Bullet Homestuck episode,
Yeah.
but like I haven't done any kind of like writing. I haven't done any work. I have a project for a zine I have to do voice work for, but I was going to do that next weekend anyway. Um, so, or next weekend. I was going to do that during the week. So, I don't know.
I gotta commit to this idea. I know I want this shot, so I'll start with this.
Also, hello, Riff.
Hi.
Hello. How are you this Sunday of the smoke
Yes.
and dying?
I just woke up.
Oh,
so
welcome.
We'll find out in like 3 seconds.
I'm trapped inside. I can't even open windows. I'm very stressed out. And I'm just trying to remain calm and focus and be productive. Uh-huh. And you can...
How is it?
Yeah.
How is it we're all at a point in our lives where like this is the second major wildfire caused by a gender reveal party? Like,
I know. I don't like it.
That's
I don't...
Like,
yeah.
what are the fucked up cosmic odds on that happening twice?
What if it's the same
I-
family? I mean, I don't think it is, but I'm gonna headcanon that it is, because that would be very 2020.
I would be.
Alright, we are going to get my amazing little animation roughs from the Flash file and move them into the Photoshop, and
The
the Photoshop.
Yeah.
we're gonna-
Hello, Governor.
Oh, governor. I'm dying. There's gonna be the sequence where, like, I want to actually utilize that we're having a fight between a bunch of characters that can fly, and also a big old giant snake. So there's gonna be this cool little chase sequence where, like, we're moving across the landscape, and see this is chasing June, and then she kind of flies up and leads it up into the sky, and then that's gonna be very cool if I can pull it off. The only problem is going to be the shots before that, kind of working into that and dealing with the very narrow like amount of time I have to have available. So
Yeah.
yeah. Ugh. I'm tired. I could not fall asleep last night because I took a huge nap in the middle of the day, and then I had coffee because I'm stupid. So I just really caused a problem for myself there. These incredible drawings. I'm an artist. I've just been roughing out Cetus in like these very first shots as if she's a worm on a string.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Here, let's give it a little
Says a
eyes.
lot about our society.
It does.
Are we not all God's worms on strings?
Yeah, that's society right there. I don't know what's June in this. Gamers. Okay. That's good. That's good. I finally know thematically what this is about.
Thank God my vision had all this purpose.
I know. Because the thing about the Cetus fight is it's not like... I'm not super worried about it as a very, like a metaphorically dense moment or anything. I'm not doing a whole lot of actual storytelling in here. But... Oh god, what am I doing? It was just to, like, say, hey, I can animate, I'm gonna animate, it's fun, look at the production value here. I'm gonna force you to take my ideas seriously because of the time I'm putting into this. But if there is a little bit of society in there, I'm not gonna complain. If we can fit some society in here, that would be okay.
You got your
Just a little
society in my animation.
You got your animation in my society. Because, yeah. There are some cool, like, directorial things that can happen on accident. Let me get, this. I should just leave this file open, because the movement is very consistent across these cuts. So we're going from top left, bottom right, bottom right to left in both Cetus and Rose's movement here, and then we're going from top left to bottom right again. So there's like this continuous looping kind of circular consistent movement that happened there that I'm pretty proud of. But again, that's not really storytelling. It's just more like, ooh, I can animate. I know how things move on the screen. And it's very... I'm just being a douchebag. Because directing's cool. It's cool. I actually like to do it. I like to do it. But we do live in a society, so I have a real full-time job, and I'm busy, and I have to go back to it on Monday. It was nice to take the week off.
Yeah. I've been in self-isolation all week, and it's having interesting effects on my psyche. I'm spinning a very fun wheel of like, am I just gonna get a weird hyperfixation now, or...
Yeah, just boot up the old Minecraft. Boot up the Minecraft. If I didn't have this project to kind of sink myself into, I'd be more crazy. I won't say I'm not crazy. Because I am, clearly. Well, there you go. There's your problem.
You can trace the root of all my problems down to the fact that I don't know Minecraft.
That's why Dirk's like that, so I mean, I don't...
Man, think about how many crises Roxy could have averted if she did ever once just be like, yo, Dirk, you ever play Minecraft?
Want to play some Minecraft? I confirmed that Roxy played Minecraft because she realizes that the beta kids have not played Minecraft. They are pre-Minecraft, and she freaks out. So I did canonize that Roxy plays Minecraft, but I don't know if Dirk... I feel like Dirk would play Minecraft. He would build like very extensive projects and like flying machines and very, very huge complex structures and stuff like that. He's that kind of dude. But it'd be good for him.
I do desperately want the alphas to have a shared Minecraft server.
I need that. I need that to happen. Jane has like a vice grip on the Minecraft economy on a 4-person server somehow. And Dirk can't even figure out.
None of them can figure out where she hid all the villagers.
Oh no. Yeah, they need their Minecraft server. I will, at some point after Resolve, there's so much I'm going to do after Resolve, I think do a comic about Roxy and Dirk playing Portal together.
Nice.
And how... Right, because I think we talked about that. I think it was on the Active server somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was the Dirk and GLaDOS kid
Exactly,
conversation.
exactly, because it's a rough idea, but he would like... I imagine like he would make levels for her to play, because this is maybe Portal 2 didn't happen on Earth A, Alpha Earth.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
possibility.
maybe it just didn't happen for no
See,
good
that's...
reason.
I understand, but it is tragic to me
It
that
is
Roxy
tragic.
didn't get to have like a really weird crush on Wheatley because
Oh. Or maybe, because there's no reason why they wouldn't just play Portal 2, but I'll think about it. I'll come up with some stupid explanation. Because
As you should.
maybe Dirk just prefers to make the puzzles. Like, he would just make
Oh, yeah.
all the custom puzzles. Maybe that's why they don't play it. Yeah, co-op is It's not his style. Um,
He's just like he's playing co-op, and the entire time GLaDOS is talking, and he's like, "It should be me.
it should be me. It should be me. It should be me. No doubles. So the idea is that he would make, you know, puzzles for Roxy, and this is when they were like just little babies. This is kind of before Roxy starts drinking, and he kind of sees that start to happen, and it kind of is like changing their relationship. And he doesn't know what to do about it because he's also just a baby. Like they're babies in the ocean. It upsets me when I think about it. It makes me sad. So what else would Dirk Strider do than stage like a very
Babies.
complicated narrative intervention in
Babies
Portal
in
by through
Babies in the ocean makes Momo sad.
makes me sad. I
Confirmed.
confirmed. I think it would make anybody sad. Who else is not just struck with this horrible gut-wrenching sadness when they think about Roxy and Dirk out there in the ocean? I don't know. It hurts my feelings.
I think that babies should be allowed a little bit of time in the ocean.
No,
as a treat.
no, 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 no! Get him out of there.
I think that's the philosophy behind Jake English.
Babies shouldn't be allowed
Okay,
to play
Jade.
with the ocean.
It's like, well, I'm gonna die now. Enjoy the ocean for the next 10 years of your life. Bye. Like, what?
Right, I know. I mean,
She
to
didn't-
be fair,
yeah.
Jade's grandpa didn't choose to
Mhm.
die.
Jay didn't choose to die either. I'm being very unfair.
No,
That was
no.
a joke. That was jokes. It's like,
I'm
it's like,
going
hey,
to
Condi,
die
I'm
in
here.
the
Can you
ocean
stab me so that my
now."
grandson can experience a character or growth? Like, I don't think that's how that went down.
He's like, "I'm really hoping this makes you stronger," and Jake's like, "Oh, don't worry, it's just gonna fuck me up."
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't worry,
don't
it
worry,
won't.
it won't.
Oh
Real people
no.
don't have art, but you
Mhm.
sure do.
I think I made this joke on Twitter like months ago about Jake, like, you know, lighting his grandmother's pyre and just carefully internalizing, "Oh, people can leave you. It doesn't even have to be your fault.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just leave you. Oh
Uh-huh.
boy."
Oh boy. I'm ready for the rest of my life
It's
now.
real cool.
Mhm.
God.
So Dirk is gonna like be making these puzzles, and he's had to like, because she started to lose interest, and not like focusing on things as much anymore, and the reason that makes Dirk freak out is because they're stuck in the fucking ocean with a fish tyrant out there, and suddenly he has no one to depend on, and that's not great. But you know, he'll create these elaborate portal puzzles, and like at the end, ta-da, intervention, and she's not gonna take it well. So I'm excited to deal with these poor kids. They're good characters.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to be said for like the puzzles are kind of briefly a reason Roxy tries to stay sober, because like she really enjoys solving them.
Mhm.
And then that's shot in the foot when she realizes, like, oh, this was about that, huh?
He's just, it's such a Dirk way to try and solve the problem. Like, he writes Detective Pony, like, for Jane to try and express that there's something about that relationship that he wants to fix or improve, but he's like really struggling. So it's like it's about him, which is more appropriate for Detective Pony. It's still not appropriate because it's her fucking birthday gift, dude. But it's much less appropriate for trying to help your friend with her drinking. But he's trying, and he's also like 12 or whatever, which is very upsetting. So I don't know how old they are. Probably 13 to 14. These babies in the ocean. I'm so upset. I'm very upset.
I feel like they need a jingle.
That's the theme song for their funny sitcom about being in the ocean. It's just like a wacky roommates comic, except for they're in different parts of the planet. Oh no.
Honestly, like
Oh.
as like a Detective Pony style kind of video fic ordeal. It's just like you've got a laugh track that goes off at odd moments.
Oh, and it gets meta. You know it gets meta. The Naked Bee adaptation. Fuck yes.
That was very entertaining. That's the kind of high effort shit posting that I really appreciate.
Yeah, because their situation did sort of feel, in a way, you could kind of like the emotionality of being stuck in an ocean. It's also like a weird predestined thing. It feels kind of like being on a set, like on a movie set. Like it's a stage. It feels so fucking contrived.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is too close, but whatever. Also, I don't know the scale of characters.
Hurts. My brain hurts from this weekend.
Yeah.
FYI,
It
I'll be
happens.
ducking out for a few minutes in about 20 minutes to do a sort of like a work wrap up call over this from the server thing, and then I'll probably be
That
back
makes
after
sense.
that.
That makes sense. It's reasonable. No, it's only 11. I feel like I've maybe accomplished something. I don't know. I can't tell.
It will probably not take very long because things are actually working right now, and everything else is something that someone else has to do.
This is a good place to be in regards to your job.
Yeah, I put in like almost 20 hours this weekend to get it to that point, so I guess that's one way to look at it. There now, anyway.
I'm just gonna go back to drawing worm on a string. See
No,
this.
I'm not out at work, and I don't know if I'll ever be out at work. I'll probably kind of have to be when I like start changing like demographic info, at least to my boss. But like, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But like,
That's good.
I have the dude that does the IT like hardware stuff. He's very like he always puts in like fucking honorifics just like as like a quirky thing that he does, and so it's just like misgendering constantly whenever he calls, and I'm just like, ugh.
Ugh.
Like, I'm at the point where I'm just like, dude, I'm a fucking trans woman. Can you please stop calling me that? But I don't necessarily want to do
Right,
that
because
he's
it's the
an old
whole
dude. I don't feel like
conversation.
dealing with
It's
bullshit.
yeah.
So yeah.
Avoiding dealing with bullshit is
Yeah.
it's worth it because you don't. It's like so much energy that you just want to save for living your goddamn life.
And I don't really care all that much because I'm not like in person with these people, so I have a very disconnected view of the people I work with. Like I'm not friends with any of them. I don't talk to any of them outside of work, and when I absolutely have to, and I'm not like in social circles with any of them. So I think Facebook wants to recommend my boss as a friend. I'm like,
No, that's
no.
funny. It's a funny joke.
No.
That's a funny joke you just told there.
Not even out on Facebook all the way because that's where I have a lot of SCA people, and I have 600 Facebook friends, and like I don't feel like guessing how many of them are transphobic yet.
It's a fun game of lottery that nobody wins.
Yeah.
I'll get to that point eventually, probably pretty soon, but not today.
Not today. Yeah,
Get
that's
that one over.
yeah, that's you're too big, June.
I've
Come on.
just been like everywhere that if anyone follows me on any social media that's not Facebook, I'm completely out.
Yeah.
Like everywhere, including like my podcast or the photo on my Facebook photography page that I don't use anymore, but still has technically 71,000 followers. Yeah, I was actually advertising for a while, but like there's basically a 0% conversion rate between Facebook followers and actually getting business.
Yeah.
So, oh, hold on a second. I think my food is here because a child is knocking on my door, and I can think that's probably the reason. I will be right back.
animation brain right now. Language, what's that? I don't know her.
Don't worry about it.
I will never worry about anything ever again. That's a lie and a promise. Uh,
That's a Dirk Strider mood, actually.
Unfortunately, Dirk is quite relatable. He's a very relatable person.
Mhm.
He has the kind of flaws and anxieties that someone would have in that situation. You can see how he got this way. It's not not a mystery. And I like that where like the character like makes sense that where they're at. You can really get into it. You can really get that's a boy I could get into. Like it's
Now that's a boy.
yeah.
Can't knock that
Official
boy over.
official
Okay.
review of Dirk Strider. Now that's a boy.
Okay, but like Dirk Roxy Monster Factory.
Oh please, please, because
I think
yes, I need that.
that would be incredibly
It
powerful.
would be incredibly powerful. Oh, so Roxy becomes a Twitch streamer, and Dirk's initially like, no, I don't wanna talk in front of people on the internet. No, I don't wanna. And then Roxy makes him do it like once, and he probably says like a total of like 8 words the entire 3-hour stream, but they're all just the funniest shit, cause and then he comes on, and then it's great, and then they have like a cool like siblings Twitch stream channel, and they're fun and they're gamers, and Roxy's really really good at Destiny PvP. She's
That's
really good at it.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Their friendship means so fucking much to me, and that's not like a Homestuck hot take, but like,
Oh no, you're right. That's true. Like it took me a while to give a shit about the alphas because like I was a little bit tired of Homestuck's bullshit. But then I realized. Oh, I realized like they're actually very like they have very compelling relationships. They're very interesting characters, and it gives me a whole entire emotion about them. Like they're so like tragic, and they have such good intentions towards each other, but they're in such a fucked up situation that they did not like they weren't able to cultivate the good relationship that they wanted because they're poor fucked up deprived children.
it's weird how intense isolation just kind of.
So weird that they did just magically become healthy functional people with no resources. We better make sure we make utterly damning conclusions about them as people. That's very important to do.
As we all know, how you behave at 16 is deeply indicative of your nature as a person.
It is. It is.
That's why I'm exactly the same person who I was at 16. I am a libertarian.
We hate it. So I really like ideas of them just having better adult experiences when they're, not in the ocean anymore. I do think Dirk probably has a rough couple years where he, writes some web fiction, better than John Dies at the end, but that same sort of thing, where, it gets a cult following, and he gets, because we know he's supposed to be, a cipher for the web comics or web art person. So... Because he's Andrew Hussey, unfortunately. We hate it, but
Andrew.
Dirk.
Oh, yeah, you're
I
right.
know. So that's
so
why they
funny.
won't, just let him be a character that's not Andrew Hussey. That would be cool. But
I
Andrew
feel like
Hussey
no
has to make everything
character
about
should
him.
be Andrew
No
Hussey.
character. Not even Andrew Hussey's character should be Andrew Hussey.
No, I mean Andrew. Yeah, exactly.
Because he's not. It just gives you, weird expectations. Okay.
I mean, yeah, and then there's always that how much of this is based on who you really are, and I don't know. I keep feeling like the answer is a lot more than you'd think, which I'm not super a fan of, but okay.
Yeah.
It's also just like real bizarre because like when you get into Dirk's flaws, it's like, is this self-awareness, self-flagellation, self-satire? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so to make Dirk now into the Reddit dude, the Reddit fan, is bad because no, that's not what this character was initially. It just feels like you're trying to repurpose it, but you're neglecting like a lot of what was going on. You're crossing the streams in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dirk the author
Also,
and
you've
the
gotten to the
audience.
point where Andrew Hussey,
Mhm.
where old Dirk is no longer even the Reddit dude. He's just like the writers of the comic at this point.
No, because he feels like sort of an editorial voice, like the readers. He still feels like the readers to me because he's supposed to be there to kind of say the things that they imagined the reader would be saying, like about Ruby and stuff. But I don't like that because you can't, stop just arguing with a sock puppet of someone you're imagining is having grievances with your work. It's so.
Well,
I think
the
authors.
bonus update after Ruby's whole thing was basically it had Andrew Hussey as a character, and it was like
Fun.
him basically being like, "Oh, we'll introduce this character named Name Redacted, and they'll love this character." And then it's like, "No, everyone's going to hate the name. Like
Mhm.
the name is the issue." Like, no, that
Mhm.
wasn't the issue. Like,
Well, I mean, it's part of the issue. It's a issue. Don't
it's
get me
an
wrong.
issue.
I'm thinking of
Very
like
small on the
that
scale.
green screen shit Markiplier did last week. Like, I hate this. This is causing me the most physical discomfort. This is not good either, but mostly I'm worried about this. And that's kind of just the situation with a lot of things here. It's the name is a problem. Mostly I'm just worried. I don't know. I don't know what to prioritize anymore. It's all very upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
My approach was to completely disengage from it 100%. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I'm not that engaged. I'm still talking about it, but
Here's my thing: is like I was looking at the design. I genuinely, I don't know. This kid feels like somebody who I actually do latch onto just a little bit because it's a very angry little child. So I immediately feel some kind of engagement with that.
It's an
But
angry
everything
little.
about it,
Yeah.
but like everything about like the conception process and the introduction, I think that was the moment where I
I
was
can't
like,
really get invested in this story, even though because you're proving to me that you don't like respect. You have no respect for anything, so I'm not going to get invested because I don't.
Yeah.
There's no trust. There's no trust relationship.
It feels like the outcome of a combination of a bunch of kind of transphobic stereotypes about Jade and a bunch of weird out of character stuff with Rose and Kanaya, and I don't love any of that.
it was so fucking dumb, and like, that was the first time I felt angry because like I had
Yep.
understand, like, so the Gamzee stuff, which I feel is like more intentionally designed to antagonize somebody like me, that didn't actually anger me because I went in bracing for it. This was the first moment where I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling an emotion that isn't just like intellectual. It's like I'm mad."
Yeah.
I
real
got to that point. So I read that update and I was
We're
kind of
just
like
gonna-
about Homestuck 2. And I got to that point and like I'm reading through it and I'm like, wait, is she actually saying that? Like I'm gonna reread this to make sure I read this correctly. Like, oh, it is what I think it is. And then I got mad about I felt actually hurt by that. And the negotiated consent story that I wrote, which is a Jade, Rose, and Kanaya polyam fic where they actually like have a good relationship. I wrote that in a day because of that. I got up at 4 a.m. and I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm gonna start writing now.
And I hear a little voice over my shoulder going, "Haha, that proves that we do condition fandom to make good, exciting things." Yeah.
It just means I write a lot, and I'll write.
It's like, don't take credit for my fucking insanity and my emotional problems, you bitch. Like, I am deranged on my own behalf. You don't get to take credit for this.
The thing
And it's
that,
also like, do I feel better off for this? Like, do I feel
I'm
better
not
off?
better
Like,
off.
oh.
You didn't help me.
right.
It's like I
Well-
had to course correct to feel normal again.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm. Yeah.
Two things about that. One, Plasticine Soul, which is a 136,000 word novel, was written because Bucky said, "Hey, you should write Dancestor fic." That was literally it. That was the thing that got me started on that journey. The thing is, like, I like Negotiated Consent. I think it's a really good story, and I like its sequel a lot. I think it's really good. But I think it's good in spite of its inspiration, not because of it. Like, when I started writing it, I was very intentionally going to be like, I'm not going into this to write a story about how much I hated the update. I'm writing a story about how much I think this relationship could actually work and like how it could actually develop. And then I'm going to stick in some stuff that's basically my commentary about like that kind of attitude of writing and how much I don't like it. But that's going to be the aside stuff that's like jokes at the expense of like bad faith writing. And I'm not going to lean into how much I felt, bad about this, because then you'll just have a bitter story that doesn't feel very good to read. And like, I didn't do that. And I think that's why people engaged with it, is it was like, oh, hey, no, actually these characters all could relate to each other a lot. And
this isn't shot 8. This is shot 9. I'm a hack.
It's like, I think my issue with post-canon is that it idealizes this kind of like, fuck canon, we can do whatever we want, like, energy that's been like a part of a fandom conversations for like years. Like, people have been saying stuff like, canon doesn't matter, like, we can do whatever we want in fandom, read my fix-it fic for years. But my issue is, you as an author cannot play into that.
Yeah.
You cannot be like, it's fine, you just get to fix whatever I do. It's like, no, you have responsibility.
You have responsibilities. You have responsibilities. God damn it.
It's just like, yeah, part of being an author is learning to accept that, like, you can't please everybody, and some of them are going to have different ideas, and that's fine. But, like, relying on it, it's like when Bethesda releases games.
Oh my god.
You guys will just mod it.
Yeah. Because it's a product. You are selling products. And that sucks. But, like, what is this relationship you're trying to cultivate? I don't like it.
It's such a shitty attitude as an author, though, too. Like, you're no longer even making it about like trying to say something meaningful. You're just kind of like,
is this anything?
Is this anything?
And like, hey,
it's like they're just sitting there. They're just scribbling. They're looking up every so often to see, like, if we're mad or not. And it's like, I want to go. Can I leave? And they're like, no. No, I need you to engage with us. But I haven't. When I do Act 8, it is not to play into that. The reason I do it is out of empathy with people who are like unfairly disparaged or hurt or ignored. Their analysis, their investments, their criticisms. What Pumpkin just the Homestuck fandom and What Pumpkin take certain people with certain very, very productive, important analyses and just crickets. Like, it can't refute that argument, so it just doesn't even address it. And I'm like, no, I'm actually going to drag this conflict to the surface. That's my motivation. It's not because, oh, you wrote a bad thing. Well, people write all kinds of fucked up garbage all the time. It's because there's a very interesting and useful analysis right now that is mandatory to acknowledge in the context of this art, because it is also relevant to other things that we need to acknowledge about our society. Like gamers, being chased by worms on strings.
Right.
That's it. We finally unlocked the full metaphor.
We did. See, this is
the metaphor
society?
DLC, if you will.
We released DLC where that makes our game art because it gives it like a metaphorical context.
The on disc metaphor DLC.
I think. Yeah, but it's like. Yeah, it's also just like.
It is.
Exactly. It is like
It is like that.
Is
very much.
Well, I don't know about you guys. The art I make in response to anger at an existing work is never good.
Yeah.
It's not something that I can look back and be proud of. It's because it's now associated with that anger.
I will retell this story, which I've told before, and I don't think I've told it on stream. So, for context, for those that haven't ever heard me talk before, I was in a very abusive relationship for a very long time. I was married to someone that is now in prison for a long time, for full context, because of that. So I went through a lot of shit for a long time. And at one point during that, I had started trying to write. I was writing like short stories to try to sell. And I wrote one that was a horror story that at the time I was like, this is really good. I'm very happy with this. I think it's a good story. And I kind of maintained that attitude for a long time, like just being like, oh, this was a good thing I wrote. And it was one of the best short stories I ever wrote. And then I went back and read it again this year. And it's like, holy shit. Like that is definitely a story that was written in the middle of an abusive relationship that was completely poisoned by it. Like the tone of it is like hateful and bitter and gross. It's a gross story. Like it feels like it was completely fueled by hatred, which is what it was. Like, it's really unpleasant to read, and it's not unpleasant in a like, wow, that's so intense, but just like a holy shit, that's like, it's technically well constructed as far as like sentences and words go, but it feels real unpleasant to read. So, which sounds very similar to another thing that I can think of.
Imagine what it might be.
It's like and you know, some of the core ideas of it, like I think I might take for other stuff that I'm working on, but I mean like the very, very, very broad strokes. Like it's obviously was written by someone who was going through a ton of pain, and like unconsciously I was putting a lot of that into the character. Like the character in the story is married, and like the way that their wife is portrayed is like, ooh, yeah, that was on the nose.
Well, I think we have this like fetish object of like the writer who works through their trauma with their art.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and that's how we end up with like 8 million films of like white dudes trying to process their divorce through.
Yeah. You know,
yeah,
you
but
know
it's
what
like,
my
go ahead.
I was gonna
No,
say,
you're
and I'm gonna be getting off the call in like 3 minutes, so I'll be shutting up soon for a little bit. The thing that I that helped me really improve as a writer was not having gone through trauma. It was having gone through trauma and then actually started to like process it, and like the stuff that I wrote, because I tried to write right out of my marriage. It was not like, it wasn't good. It was just kind of like stock science fiction-y type stuff and like whatever. I didn't write for a long time, and then when I got into Homestuck, I started writing a lot. And that was the first time that I'd written stuff that was inspired by things I'd lived through, but also like by my own processing of it. So like one of the things that it happens a lot in my writing is you have characters that are going through stuff, but then they actually like have thoughts about it beyond like, I'm going through this. And like, yeah, like I think that if you read through my stuff, you can see like, oh, this is her experiences with blah blah blah. Like I put a lot of myself into my writing, but it's a lot of experience with having lived through something, come out on the other side and still being like, oh, I guess I am still alive and can keep living. And like I think Homestuck is an interesting lens for that, because there's so many traumatized characters in Homestuck where they just like, I feel like they deserve the chance to like deal with this. Like they shouldn't just be like, oh, everything is fine, or like, oh, they're destroyed by it. Like they should be able to
There's not a lot of
face
healthy
this.
processing. That's why I'm excited for New Game Plus. We're going to show some healthy processing. It's gonna be nice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good.
it's just like, it's kind of like, it's like a comedy. Like you can't just point out thing exists. Like you have to have enough emotional distance from it to be able to observe something from it. And like I think that speaks to maturity as a writer. It's like you can't just write your trauma and hope it turns out good at the end. You have to like be able to distance yourself enough to
You have to
learn
be able to
like
yeah, you have to be able to synthesize your experiences. Like it's not just copying what you've been through or like what you think you've been through. It's actually taking that and then like deriving meaning from it and then also translating it into something that another person would want to read. Um, yeah, like comedy, you know. The trick to comedy is just like pointing out that something exists and then doing a racism. And that's how you get comedy.
Thing
So-
exists. Applaud me.
Thing exists, racial slur.
Oh god.
Thing
And that's
exists.
my
That's
for
your
getting off the
cutie-
call for a little
cutie
bit so I can
go.
talk about wine.
Uh,
I will
it
probably
feels
be
like
back
that's
in
too
a few
close
minutes,
together.
so I will
Shot.
talk to y'all in a little bit.
Have fun. I don't know.
Yes. Good night.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah. With trauma and art, so like going through bad things never made me a better person. It was empathizing with other people and like what other people have been through and wanting to help them. That's always what makes me a better person. And you know, you don't know how to do that unless someone shows you. You know, you got to be shown.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, I've had fucked up stuff happen to me, but it's also part of it is like, I have a dad whose entire line of work is working with people who are going through trauma actively at the moment.
Mhm.
And it's like, it doesn't, there's nothing ennobling about it. There's no insight that you derive from it until you manage to get some distance.
Yeah, you got to get
Right.
outside that situation because you're going to be stuck like in the survival pattern that you need to be in for that moment. And that's not conductive to like, you know, the kind of new skills and abilities you need to develop. So, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this shot here. Wait, that's not what I want.
Rose looks so good here.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how that. I still have to draw her face, her eyes. I'm working on how I want to stylistically handle that. But,
I really like the colors. Like,
Yeah.
just,
the colors turned out good. I have to use my brain. I don't want to use my brain though. I have to figure out how I'm. So we're gonna. We have to have one shot that kind of establishes that June gets Cetus's attention and kind of provokes her into this chase sequence here. And I've got like a couple ways I could go about that because I think what happens before is we have the three shots that are Jade's whole sequence where Jade does the initial like attack with using the green sun powers to like shoot her multiple times with the same bullets. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not how that would work, but you know, it's or just like she can't miss because she can take wherever the bullet is fired and redirect it, reorient it. So. Coming from that to this is gonna be like, because one idea is that we just have like a big ol' snake, and I have to keep drawing her at this angle where it's incredibly difficult because I'm stupid. But she's kind of like a little hognose snake. It's very cute.
it's adorable.
It's adorable. I think her eyes might be open at this point. So she gets to be a little scary.
I feel like I should be more into snakes. Just like something about my temperament says that I'm into snakes. But like, I'm.
You don't have to be into snakes. It's. I've been
Thank you
thinking.
for your permission to not be into snakes.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I've been watching like all these goddamn aquascaping videos, and I'm thinking, well, what if I got a crayfish? I shouldn't get a crayfish. I shouldn't do that. But what if I do? I don't even know if I'm allowed to have an aquarium, even a small one, in my apartment, because potential, like, it's just not good. It's not good to have just like a box of 20 gallons of water that can be on your floor suddenly. If something decides to go wrong and damage everything, so.
I do love that human impulse, though. Of like, I've got a space I'm living in. I should put an animal in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I don't really like I've never liked the idea of an aquarium before because like just fish. I don't. They need so. I think they need so much space. I don't like seeing it in a little box. But you can just put plants in there and like a shrimp. That's allowed. That's cool.
They let you.
They let you do that. That's allowed. Oh, why can't I do things correctly? How would that work? I might just have June kind of like lead her in a circle. Like that. We don't have like a scene where June can do any like cool like, windy thing attacks so much though, and that's kind of a shame because I wanted to draw some airbending, but this animation can only be so long. I don't know. I don't like having to use my brain. I wanna turn that off. Maybe I'll have to think about this later. But we did one. We did one. Yeah, we did that. Just this whole sequence is gonna be, I think, a little tricky to figure out. So I'll probably save that for when I'm not streaming, because that's not fun to watch me stare at a blank canvas and lose my mind for like 50 years. What else?
I don't know. I might find it entertaining.
What else can we do? I guess we could start doing some keys. I have about a half hour before I would stop streaming anyway, so maybe. I don't know if you were here to see this.
I was not.
Yeah, we got some Dave with the sword.
That's a little a day. Have we not suffered enough?
I was dragging him earlier, like, Dave. But yeah, I got so mad because it was so difficult to draw these because like he kept looking to his left, like I kept not getting like the position of the face right because he looks to his right a little bit compared to this frame, and then we have to keep that consistent across these two, and it's really hard. And I'm gonna have to do like sort of hair like swaying in the wind, and then maybe like a settling frame for across here. There's the fucking cape. There's so much going on. And I'm so mad at him. This shot took 2 days when I wanted to do 3 shots per day, and it's a nightmare. I'm upset. But now we get to do this. Right now there's no movement in the torso because it's just a drawing of a torso and I drew the arms on top of it, but I actually have to do a lot of animating there for that. Just step down there, and then the sword, and then ta-da. So maybe we should do this now for like half an hour.
It's like he knows how you feel about him. So
I think
like,
he does. I think he knows. I think he's upset with me, but he can die mad about it. Someone needs to deal with this guy.
Get a load of this guy.
Get a load of this guy. Would your shoulders be like that? I don't think they would. The first drawings are always kind of the worst. And it's also, yeah, tricky.
I'll take your word for it. I can't draw for shit, so.
Drawing's bad, kids. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Art sucks.
The hot take of the Homestead stream.
The hot take is just we're working on this has been just like constantly saying to myself, art sucks. Maybe his arms up here. No, I don't know how the sword got from being over his right shoulder to his left. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I normally like doing like good shot continuity stuff, but there's no fucking time. I have to finish this thing in like 16 days. So, 15 days. So, yeah, we're gonna deal with it. If Photoshop won't like freeze, that's great. Animation.
Was a mistake.
It was. No, I love it. I love animation. Let's just put your glasses in there, sir. Sir, please, please just cooperate. I don't like this drawing, though. There's something just like the depth in it is not really working for me. Maybe that's good. Because normally you want just like a lot of overlap, a lot of... Maybe I'll just put like... Because we're supposed to be sort of looking from below here, so maybe his face is going to be like in shadow. Yeah, that'll be cool and dramatic. Okay, cool. This drawing sucks, but art's bad. Don't do it.
Just say no to art.
Just say no to art. You know, you'll have such a good time not doing art. Just imagine all the days that you'll have in your life where you don't have to do art. Just think of that, okay?
Listen to me. Your family members that don't support you getting a theater degree are actually right.
They're actually right. Okay, I've changed that drawing a lot, but maybe it's for the best. Nope, I hate it. Let's try again. We're still gonna have the shoulder up like that. But I want maybe... I should probably just worry about like the joint placement and test the movement first. Oh, there we go. Some kind of little cross body movement there. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's fall's approaching and I'm getting over the garden wall gifts on my desk.
It's time. Unpopular opinion, that movie is okay. Like, it doesn't have that much, like, its story is not, it doesn't really do much. You know?
Movie?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
Over the Garden Wall.
Okay. I guess I just don't conceive of it as a movie. As like...
Yeah, it's more just like, it's just a bunch of scenes. I don't know, I just experienced it as just a bunch of scenes.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, that works for me in a way. I
Like, it's,
appreciate
yeah.
a good vignette.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not for everybody, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I will say, like, with everything being on fire right now and not being able to go outside, like,
Yeah.
the fall romanticism is setting in a severe way.
I'm ready for it to be nice and cool and rainy so I can stay
yeah.
inside but feel slightly more comfortable about it.
Yeah, well, I don't know, my university seems to have a policy of keeping all rooms at, like, a solid 89 degrees.
Yuck.
And I can't leave it.
Yuck.
So, yeah, no, it's a very sweaty ordeal over here.
Hate it. Hate it.
Suddenly, I am the aqueous kid.
Oh. Oh, Aqueous.
Oh, Aqueous.
Yeah, Aqueous. It's like, it's tough because like the fandom enjoyed this character because like he's just a funny guy, and so they're working to make him kind of likable, and I wish we could do that, and we can, I guess, but if there was, I guess, acknowledgement that he was just there to basically torment everyone around him with his behavior.
Weirdly enough,
Yeah.
the way you make Aqueous likable is you really zero in on the fact that he kind of hates Aridin. I think like that's the funniest
His one redeeming quality.
And I say this is an Aridin liker. It kind of is one of like, other than his relationship with Nepeta, like him kind of hating Aridin is so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't respect a single high blood he actually knows.
Yeah. Because you think he would like defer to Aridin because he's so into the racism. There's one thing we can say about this horseman: loves the racism, loves it.
Yeah, but he's a sea dweller, so he feels like he's obligated to dislike him, and also his advances make him uncomfortable.
Well, Aqueous, maybe you should learn something and stop doing that weird shit to Gamzee. Maybe learn a thing.
And he's like,
No, don't think I will. It's like, okay, then die. I do not feel bad for you. You can't. In my unpopular opinion, Aqueous deserved it.
I think Aqueous wanted the way he went out. Like,
right.
Like, I think Aqueous would have like I feel like Nepeta. I feel for you. You cannot look me in the eyes and tell me this isn't how Aqueous kind of wanted to go out.
Which is not good because that's a kid. So Homestuck, stop being so fucking weird, please. Please. Oh, yikes. I'm just
Lejon Makara connections, man. Lejon Makara connections.
Oh, that's a whole can of worms.
Oh,
it's a very
it is
wormy can.
I had to uncap all of it for my distant quest.
No, oh no.
And I'm genuinely very fascinated by all because it gets very religious at like I think like the Lejon's there's a reason their ancestor title is the disciple. Like I think they're very prone to belief. It's like that is a contrast to like the sort of, I'm not gonna say warped spirituality is way too loaded, but like intense spirituality of the Makaras.
Well, the Makaras are what's really going on with them. You have to, okay, so you know those diagrams where it's like Alternia is a patriarchy because you think it's Condesce, but she's a puppet for Lord English, who's a misogynist. Lord English is a puppet for Hussey, who's a racist. So you gotta look at the Makaras that way and understand that like a lot of the shit going on there is hugely misrepresented. And the reason it's so negative is because like of these terrible unchecked like prejudices and voodoo shit is important to understanding what's going on there. So yeah, it's fucked up.
But I think like they do have like an inverse like relationship with relevancy, because Makaras are like relevant in a way that nobody like theoretically the reader does not want them to be. Like their presence there is meant to frustrate you with the fact that these guys keep coming back and keep like being important to the story. Whereas the Lejons kind of exist in like you want them to like do something.
You want them to be important, but but neither of them really benefit from the situation. Because Lord English fucking enslaves people, so
you know how it goes.
You know how it goes. It's just Lord English, just doing his thing.
Doing Lord English.
Doing Lord English, just little Lord English things.
I want to make a Caliborn like white girl aesthetic blog.
Oh my god, please, I want it.
I have discovered Pinterest.
Just a lot of pictures of meat. It's weird. He didn't think there were that many pictures of meat on Pinterest, but he found them. What? Okay, Gunner Channel wants to know, pick your Hogwarts house, Normie, Chad, or Cringe?
I'd like to say Chad, but like my name was literally Cringe for a period of time in an online space, and that stain's never quite washed out.
I put on the
so-
sorting hat and it fucking explodes. No, I guess I'd be Normie. I rather would be Normie.
I can't. I let teenagers on the internet call me Cringe, like as a title.
Okay,
I did that.
You did that to yourself. Why am I just drawing this? This is supposed to be like I draw over the roughs and actually make them into the poses they're supposed to be, and I'm just redrawing the roughs, which is not does not fucking help me at all. Oh, ooh, wait, I can do that. Okay.
The list that's by default makes Bucky the Chad,
It does.
and you know what? I'm comfortable with that.
Am I getting? Oh, I'm getting messaged. Sorry, if anyone's sending me stuff on Discord, I can't look at it right now. But hello, DBNet. I see you're here in the stream. Hi, thank you for coming. Oh, it sure as hell is Sunday out here.
I can tell from the distant thrumming music of my Christian university.
Oh my god. Should there be an in between there? I don't know. Let's just draw this one. I just want to draw this one. Oh, should that hand be there? I don't know. Yeah, yes, it should.
I'm getting DM'd by my brother, like, hey, I need somebody to interact with my tweets. Can you go like it?
What? That's such a brother DM. Like, that's such a brother thing. I don't have brothers, but I still know somehow.
I've got two. It's
I'm sorry for your loss.
one of them's really close in age and also thinks he's the older one, so like you look at literally like sibling psychology, that like weird crap
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
He's got all the older sibling markers. He's like he's
He just-
responsible, he's driven, and
He's
I've
got-
got like only child energy.
You get to like if you stayed in the only child energy, that left an oldest child vacuum for him to fill. So this is on you, unfortunately.
I didn't realize I was picking my personality at age
You did,
1.
yes, you did. That's how it works. It's a character selection screen. You get to pick one. You have to pick your Hogwarts house. You have to pick if you're gonna do the only sibling or the oldest sibling option. You know, it's important.
And if God makes you gay, you have to decide if you're a driving one or a math one.
I can do both.
I can drive. I can't do math.
I can do both, but like the consequence is that like you don't talk to girls, so that kind of causes a problem.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah.
Would love to talk to a woman sometime. Very pro woman.
Hello,
Hi.
welcome back.
I have returned.
This
How
drawing
was-
sucks.
Refreshingly not full of bullshit. It was basically like, where are we? Okay, it sounds like we're good. Here's what we're doing tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
So,
That's good. It's always
Yeah.
good when that can happen.
yeah, I wish we'd been there earlier, but whatever. It's done now. So,
Yeah. I'm trying to sketch in these frames, but it's hard because to do that while I'm on call. So I guess I'm
Yeah,
not doing a
that's
very good job.
understandable.
Unfortunately, I got through all the other shit I wanted to get through. So
Is this a new comment out of the three of you? Which of you is the most normie, Chad, and Cringe?
yeah, we just talked about that.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I picked
Deny,
Normie.
assign
I
yourself.
picked Normie, and
I
Okay.
picked Cringe picked me.
Cringe
Okay.
picked
Oh,
Reese.
does that make me the Chad by
I guess
default?
it does. We were gonna say Bucky, and Bucky
Yay.
didn't pick it, so you get to be the Chad.
Yay!
Yay! Jade would be the Chad, you know, in a good way. In a good way.
Right.
A positive version of
Yes,
that. The
yeah.
non-toxic version, if
Yeah.
you will.
Should the sword actually be like over here? I think it
I don't-
probably should.
I don't like how the term himbo has been democratized to the point of meaninglessness, but it's like
Yeah.
Jake English is standing there as the one person who, besides George of the Jungle, who actually deserves it.
Yeah, I agree.
If I have to hear Brian David Gilbert called a himbo one
No,
more time,
no, I'm gonna drop kick. I don't even. I'm
Who's calling him a himbo?
I'm too much of a lesbian to even be invested in this, and I'm still mad.
Right.
and like as a bi person, I have overwhelming investment.
You have
into
overwhelming
it.
investment in himbos. Himbos are extremely important to
I'm-
bisexual culture, as I understand.
I'm Arrow Ace. I have no investment whatsoever beyond the like intellectual, and that's ridiculous.
Like, I'm not attracted to himbos. I want to be one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like as a bisexual, you either
Holy shit.
want a himbo or you are the himbo. Those that's it. Those are the two sides.
if you don't want a himbo, then you are the himbo.
You are the himbo.
I realized this was my calling when I realized dumbass is probably the most affectionate thing I've ever felt. Like,
Oh my god.
someone calling you
Wow.
dumbass. Yes.
Nice. Oh.
Hashtag relationship goals.
Oh my god. All right, Dirk Jakes, there's your food.
Right, yeah. There
Here's
it
the
is.
Dirk keeps trying to make Jake smarter, and that's why he doesn't deserve a himbo.
Well, that's the thing is Jake could be smart. He like puts so much effort into not being smart.
And that's so powerful of him.
That's
really.
so valid. It's so valid. He just wants to like, oh haha, I'm Jake. Don't worry about it. I'm your friend, Jake English, your friend. Haha,
Right.
hoo hoo, fun. And it's like, hey Jake, what's that over there?
Your pal, Jake English.
Jake, what's that over there under that tarp labeled emotional problems? He's like, don't look, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, what? I don't know about. I hate British Jake English.
Yeah, it's not
Schizophrenic.
valid.
But like, I feel like he does fake
I don't
words.
know why is it always the British. Like I've done that
Yeah.
too, but it is just like his name is English.
Well,
he doesn't
because
have to be
Jake
British.
has like sort of this is a character to comment about like the legacy of like colonialism and sort of
That's
fantastic like
I guess it could be.
explorations
That's
of the quote
But
unquote
like,
savage. It's pretty gross, but like that's not to say that this character is part of that legacy necessarily. He's just been impacted by the tropes of it.
Right.
That I think he's
Right.
been like internalized in kind of a bad way.
yeah, but I
yeah.
think it's also just like as a person who grew up with an ungodly amount of British children's literature, like if you
Yeah.
look at speech patterns, like it's very
Yeah.
transatlantic. Like Calliope has British speech patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calliope's British. The cherubs are British. The cherubs are British imperialists.
Yeah.
Momo's Calliope voice is good. Also, Riff, your transatlantic Jake was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I might have to write more Jake just so we get more opportunities to.
Aw. No, I love voicing Jake. There's so much energy coming out of his mouth, and
So many things are happening in that boy all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
One that I don't like is I guess I feel like it's overdone is the British Kanaya.
Yeah.
Because it's like I get the like this sort of like aloof voice. That's the way I do Kanaya's voice, but the British accent I don't. I think that's a bit much.
yeah. No, it's just something about like speaks very solid, like light Midwestern to me.
I can't do Midwestern, so I just don't. But
Kanaya comes across to me as like part of the culture that used to be at the pinnacle of society and still kind of retaining that.
Mhm.
And like still has kind of that regal energy.
Right.
but it doesn't need to be British.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't have to make every smart character British. We
Every
don't.
smart, right? If anything, I
Uh.
want to lean away from that.
Oh God, I can't draw. I can't do it.
And Bucky's Dirk energy is great.
Oh, Southern Dirk. Thank God for some triangles' Dirk performance in the Detective Pony adaptation.
Yeah,
Just a gift. Just a
exactly.
fucking gift, you know? Really helps.
Well,
really
it's-
takes the edge off, you know?
It's also fun to see how different voice actors interpret it, because like Bucky and mine, like I keep saying mine is based off of Bucky's, which is true, but also it's not the same
I
voice.
Can I draw,
Um,
please? Sorry, I'm
Like
talking to
I
myself.
tend to do mine with a lot more like menace to it because I do so much writing with alt Dirk.
Mm.
So my Dirk has a much more like
Uh-oh.
sinister edge.
Did that.
An oil baron, if you will.
Right.
Actually, you know what? He's the we've been watching Westworld. It's the Man in Black.
Is the Man in Black. That's a really
Shit.
good show.
Oh, he's
I haven't
he's
rewatched
ultimate. Oh no.
it. Also, the second season just follows right. It's like a continuation, very smooth, seamlessly, and the third season is like it's complete. Like I did not know what to expect going into that show because I'd never even seen the original movie, and the original movie is basically just like the conceit of like the crazy robots that go kill everyone in the park. So I was like, all right, this it's supposed to be good and it looks interesting, sure, whatever. But like the show becomes so much more than it was. Like the third season is not in the park very much, and also like it's just like a straight up cyberpunk story. Like they go so much into the world building of everything outside of the park world, and they have these little bits dropped in the first season about it. Like they're making this comment about like, you know, this offhand comment about like, oh, the personality test in the womb should have weeded you out.
Ooh.
And it's like, and I'm like, oh shit,
That's
referencing
dystopian
something
as
in the
shit.
third season. Like they actually go into that stuff.
Yeah, no, that
And
was
it's like,
confusing.
wow,
to me
that
for
was
sure.
like they actually thought about this in advance and didn't just write it on the fly. Also, there's I won't spoil anything on the air because people are like maybe haven't seen it, but there's one
God, I can't
there's
draw.
one big like reveal that's tipped in the beginning of the first season, but there's another line that's very similar that tips a big reveal from the third fucking season.
I'm gonna get up for
Like
a
they
sec.
have this
I'll be right
character
back.
make like this jokey comment to another one, and it's like it's actually a hint at something that happens like 20 episodes later, and it's like that's really neat. Like they did actually thought about writing this, and like they did a really good job. Like despite the show's weird brand of horniness that it has in the first season primarily, like the second and third seasons aren't like that as much, but it's an HBO show. You gotta be horny in a weird way. It's
In a weird
contractually
clinical,
required. Right.
So-
It's like it's got a clinical feel. It's like oh, they are naked. Look at the nakedness.
just- I can't imagine anybody being like. My thing with the HBO shows is like the way they shoot and frame sex. I'm just like, I can't imagine a world where someone is turned on by this. I can't imagine a world like,
Right. If I wasn't already sex repulsed, I am now.
and I am not. I'm very, you know.
Right.
So,
But
anyways,
yeah, it's got a weird energy. But it's a good show. It's a really, really good show.
So, anyways.
Also, Maeve is a great character.
Oh, Maeve is so. I'm gonna have some thoughts about Maeve. Oh,
Yeah, me too. And I'm trying very hard not to let my knowledge of seasons 2 and 3 affect my like class specting, because a couple of the characters change a fair amount, or they develop a lot. Like I can kind of see like some of my analysis for Dolores is at least somewhat colored by the second and third seasons, although she's already at the point she gets there, she's just not fully realized yet, but she's
Dolores,
definitely on the yeah.
like that entire speech to the Man in Black of like a new gods will walk upon your earth. I was like, ma'am,
Mhm.
I just think you should be allowed to do whatever you want.
Right. She becomes really like she continues to be a really interesting character. So does Maeve. Actually, I'm really glad they developed Maeve as a character.
one thing they could not, like, the actress is fucking phenomenal. The one thing she could not convince me, though, is that Dolores is actually romantically invested in a man.
Right.
It was like, this is nothing. Like, she has, like, 3 or so love interests, and it's like, this is nothing. Like,
Yeah. I actually kind of lean into that later, like that sort of detachment, in a way that I think works pretty well.
I just choose to read Dolores as a lesbian, and it's like the park is
That's fair.
comp-heading her into.
Yeah, that's valid. And that actually tracks pretty well with the later seasons, to be honest.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you.
No, came back right in time for the stream to be almost over. But let's see if I can at the very least. No,
No, but
leave my layers back, please.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to the episode.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good discussion. Like because Jessica Jones worked really well. We had about the same number of characters with about the same degree of complexity, and that was perfect. Like it was just enough. Like there's a lot of characters we could talk about, but I think the list that I put is probably like the core group. I do have some brief thoughts about some of the others, but I think we can slot them in without having extensive discussions.
Yeah, no.
Like those are kind of the main ones.
And it's like, I'm kind of glad we're skipping over Cullen, honestly, because I do like her a lot. I just had no fucking clue for her class back. It was like, I've got nothing for you, like,
which one is she? I don't think I know her by that name.
she's the one sleeping with Bernard.
Teresa. Yeah. She's. I put something down for her, not a class spec, but like what her role in the whole like session might be, but not as a player. So.
Yeah, I kind of felt like Black Queen energy from her.
Yeah, that's where I was going, as like a Carapace type role.
Mm-hmm.
I had that for a few characters. We'll talk about it in the episode, but like, yeah, you've got a lot of characters where you don't necessarily learn a whole lot about them, but they're definitely important. Like her, I mean Logan, to be honest, like we see a lot of him, but we don't really learn much about him other than that he's a massive asshole and a horrible person.
Like, I am a little sad we're not going to be class specting bisexual Prince Caspian, because that's
I don't know. He's a lot.
Oh, he's terrible. Like
he is.
But
he's also the bad guy. He's also the bad guy in the Punisher TV show, and he's basically playing the same character. Like
Ben Barnes was like,
just the sentence Punisher TV show makes me have like a bad feeling go through my body.
Not bad. Like it's about the best. Actually, it's pretty good. I'd say it's about the best you could do the Punisher. Like it really leans into the broken nature of what he's doing. Like it doesn't glamorize him at all, and it's like, wow, yeah, he really is a fucked up dude, and like what he's doing isn't gonna bring him peace. And I think that's about the only way you can take that character that doesn't just like lean into the kind of somewhat fascist elements of who he is. So like I don't know. I think it's definitely pretty good. John Barenthal does a good job playing the character. I think is a big part of it. Like he just, I don't know. He never plays the character like, you know, rah, the Punisher is gonna go kill them criminals. It's more like he's very reluctant to get to that point, and then he's very like, it messes him up. Like I think it really leans into the idea that what he's doing is unhealthy. It's like if you were to, you know, write Terezi in a way that is actually fleshed out and not just like woobified and or glorified.
Yeah.
What?
Should I just reuse that? I'm gonna have to do a thing where there's like, I could just treat this like it's a. I could just be lazy and kind of treat this like an animation cycle. I think what I'll do is I'll almost redraw. Do I have to draw that? finally learning how to draw, and it's almost time for lunch.
Yay.
Momo learns art.
Momo learns art. The stream. I feel like every day I sit down to draw, I'm
Yeah,
learning
you're
how to
learning
draw
again.
again, all over. I feel like every day I start from just day fucking one.
Every day people make me see images.
Literally, that's very much the emotion I'm experiencing. Yeah, okay, I won't be lazy. I will actually draw these frames. I will do it, just not right now. So we're just kind of figuring out how like the torso moves are gonna happen. And it should be. I want very subtle and like continuous movement for the torso. That's why I used the still image before. Like we're gonna have the shifting, but the hips should stay kind of in the same position. So you should have like pretty consistent lines going like right there. Ooh, and Shala's theme playing in the background. Shala's theme is becoming very important to all Calliope's characterization. Shala
awesome.
as a character is very important to like some of the. I won't say it inspired it because I wasn't really drawing all the connections at first, but the more I'm realizing like Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are very much like. I don't know. I think they're talking about very similar things, like time and kind of destiny and fate, and because Shala gets like fused with Lavos as part of the conditions of reality, and I don't think you're actually able to save her in the first game. You have to play through all of Chrono Cross to
cannot.
really. Yeah, you can only save her in Chrono Cross at the very end.
Yeah, the whole of Chrono Trigger was very like fatalistic about certain characters. Like Shala was one of them. Like there was nothing you could do to change what happened to her.
Yeah, and you weren't supposed to think, oh, that's good. That was like it was a tragedy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because like I think there's one of the many endings where Magnus actually goes back to like try to save her. I think I know there's like a billion endings to that, which was one of the cool things about that game because that was one of the first games I remember playing that had like 15 endings or something.
Oh yeah, there was all you could go
really
fight
cool.
Lavos during very many different points in the game and get completely different endings. Based on
Yeah,
that. Chrono Trigger was amazing.
The one that the hardest one to get, I mean, playing the game as an adult, it's not as hard as it was when I was in middle school. Someone's asking if we played the Persona games. I played Persona 5. And
No, because I'm
started to
not a
play
weeb.
4.
I played about 20 minutes instead of 5. Momo, noted hater of anime.
I really like.
I will destroy all
Persona.
anime. Mwahaha.
I really liked Persona 5, despite some of its like not good elements. Basically, like how they treated Anne was really gross, and also the weirdly like homophobic stereotype characters they felt the need to throw in for some reason. Which I guess have been removed from Persona 5 Royale, but I haven't bought that and don't plan to. But like, I like the game in general.
People are always wanting me to play the dang ropes and the and the persons, and it's always like some weird transphobic, homophobic bullshit.
That's why I didn't.
Misogyny, and I don't want to.
4.
I'm tired of it.
Because Persona 4 has got like this really like transphobic bit to it, where I'm just like, no, or 4 or 3. I think it's 4, that maybe 3 as well, but definitely 4. And it was just like, no, I'm good. Yeah, I don't like it enough to deal with that and engage with it. But yeah, so Chrono Trigger, I played it in middle school when it came out, and back then, you didn't have like everything on the internet where you could just like look all this information up. So a lot of it was like a combination of like word of mouth from my friends and then like Nintendo Power.
Yeah.
So I remember,
Nintendo Power. I remember Nintendo Power.
I had friends that played the game before I did, and I remember like one of the pieces of advice was like, make sure you have Isla in your party before you go to the commons. And that was it. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. And that's because when you go to the commons in that like 10,000 BC world, you get captured, and the only character that can fight at first is Isla because she has unarmed attacks. Um,
She's from the
otherwise you've gotta,
prehistoric
like,
times, right?
she's from the 65 million BC. Right?
I love her. She was probably
She's
my
great.
favorite.
She is one of my go-to party members. My normal endgame party is Isla. What's what's the princess's name? Marl, and
Yeah.
usually Chrono and or Frog, or Frog because you only have 3. But like Isla and Marl have a really powerful double attack that does a shitload of damage to Lavos. But yeah, like so I thought that was like ooh yeah, that's a cool little hint. And like yeah, I got a thing. But one of the things I did was like Nintendo Power at one point had like a list of all the endings, and the one that was the hardest to get, which you get like the secret developer room ending that has like all the developer characters that like tell you little facts. At least the hardest ending you get before they added that like bullshit extra difficult section in the DS version of the game. Was you had to beat Lavos the very first time you could encounter it, which is when the time gate malfunctions and you only have Chrono in your party.
Oof.
It's not easy, but it was doable. It's only available in New Game Plus, and by that time I had like a million like mega elixirs and it was completely leveled up. So, but yeah, that was really neat, and it was like I felt a sense of accomplishment because it's like I've beaten this really hard thing, which was cool. It was really neat to like discover all those little endings and see all these like different interpretations of how the timeline could be altered.
I don't understand what's going on with this shot. Oh, okay, that's what was happening. Animation, everybody.
Nice.
Animation. But yeah, Shala is apparently like a reference to like the Whore of Babylon a little bit. I was like, oh,
Okay.
Woman in Purple, huh? Clown. So it's sort of like Goliath, we can sympathize with all of the characters because she's also kind of in this one extremely narrow expression. She was given this very, very linear, simple role to play in the story, and she's like, okay, cool, but also, I'm gonna destroy everything because that sounds like fun.
Right.
She's a good character.
She is an interesting character. That whole Zeal segment of the game was really fascinating, because it had such a unique feel and like culture to it, and you learned enough to know that there was like a shitload going on, but you never got a full picture of it because you were only there for a little while. It was like, I don't know, it was fascinating to see. Like the whole like undersea palace.
Yeah,
because
it was this like, this is the place that's sort of not really behind everything, but they've been like trying to fix it, and they made everything worse. So,
it was really neat.
And you
like,
just get to
I don't know, every era of time in Chrono Trigger had this really neat like distinctive feel, and like it had a lot to do, but at the same time, it's not that long of a game. Like if you know what you're doing, you can basically go through all the content in about 25 to 30 hours tops. Like it's not a short game, but it's not a long game by RPG standards. And like, I don't know, it feels like the right length. Like it's a good example of why a game just being longer isn't necessarily good. Like you can get through it and you feel like, yeah, that was a good like solid experience.
Chrono Trigger is just so thorough. Like everything is so rich and detailed.
Right, like everything feels meaningful, and it's like there's a lot of little secrets to discover and little tidbits of information and like cool details, but it's little enough information that you feel like you can actually get a coherent picture of all of it.
like I find that with like big RPGs, you tend to get this very like overwhelming feeling
Yeah.
where it's just like there's a million things and either you literally can't do everything, like paths that exclude each other, or you just realistically can't do everything because there's too much and you have to pick something. But like Chrono Trigger actually felt like a game where you could kind of like see everything there is to see and feel like you've gotten a complete picture of it and be like, yeah, that was cool. And then you can go back and do the multiple endings and stuff. Um, and of course, the game doesn't scale up. It doesn't scale up enemy encounters when you do New Game Plus. You're basically one hitting all the bosses until you get to the pretty much near the end.
Yeah. God, it was so good. I say like I should replay it someday, but that's just too huge of a time sink. It really is like
I
once
mean,
in a
Chrono
lifetime
Trigger
experience.
Chrono Trigger isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Cross though, if you want to
Cross
get
is
all
a
the
lot,
all the 60
yeah.
characters.
I was gonna say it's like 100 characters or
Ugh.
something like that. That was what got me about it. Like I started to get into it and I was like, this is really fascinating, but then it was like, this is really overwhelming, and I stopped playing it, and then it's not the kind of game you can just like pick back up again.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because it's a good game.
Yeah.
And the other thing the one thing I don't like about Chrono Cross, and like I feel like it suffers from having so many characters for this, is that it doesn't feel as unique for each character. Like you don't get that same feeling of like strong identification with the individual characters. Like the combat system plays into that too, because it has that very like kind of fill in the blanks type combat system where you can utilize like multiple characters can utilize the same kind of combat,
Right.
which is,
So
tactically
there's so many
nice,
there's so many characters, but they don't really offer something unique as much. Like
exactly.
if probably there's actually a very sophisticated, like nuanced system of why you would bring all these different combinations, but I think they just had all these characters.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the reason that that's the case is that they have so many characters that realistically, like, from a gameplay standpoint, it's easier to balance your party where you can kind of like, I mean, they weren't all literally the same. Like, I remember they have different like strengths and weaknesses as far as how you could configure your spells. But like generally speaking, I think it's good that you can reconfigure your party, because otherwise it'd be like, wait, who of these 60 characters is good at this type of magic?
Oh,
Like,
no.
oops, I don't have them in my party. I guess I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
Ugh.
like I just finished playing Wasteland 3, which is a good game. I like the Wasteland remake or sequel games because they feel like if the Fallout games continued as isometric games, which is cool. Like they do a very good job of matching the tone and a lot of the like gameplay of it. But Wasteland 3 is like basically you build a party of 4 rangers. You're part of this like, protecting the wasteland kind of group, and you can fully configure those 4 people for the most part. Like you can make a lot of modifications from the basic template, and then you get 2 more that are companions, which are more defined NPCs, except you can still control how they level up. But I always like I like the system they take, because you can control what your party members specialize in, so you don't have to have like one character that's good at everything or miss out on large swaths of content. You basically have like every character gets a combat specialty and then some non-combat stuff. So like I had one character who was the party's sniper, but also the one that did lock picking and explosives. I had one character that was like the computer person. The main character I actually had, my main character being like the talking to people character. Like they had high charisma and they had high leadership.
I love playing the party face. I really do. I play this
they were
lovely
the party
paladin.
Face, except for bartering. I had a bartering specialist character.
Oh.
But the way the game works is like when you engage in a conversation or an interaction as a party, it just takes whichever party member has the highest stats. So you don't have to like swap out who's talking, which is like, that would be annoying. Except that one of the things Wasteland does, and I think this is clever, but also it like kind of screwed me on this one, is toward the end of the game in Wasteland 2 and 3, you get to a point where like you have to make a bunch of decisions in the game about like who you're going to side with.
and then some of your companions will actually leave the party if they don't agree with you. And one of the decisions I made was I'm not going to side with the sort of fascist, a little bit genocidal guy that runs the Colorado in this world. Like I'm going to not help him. I don't think he is a good leader, and I don't believe that he is justified in what he is doing. And unfortunately, both of my companions were like not on board with that. They're like, well, I've seen all the bad stuff he does, but I still can't go against him. And I'm like, fuck. Like you get 2 new companions, and I had to like immediately basically like reconfigure their build to match the 2 that that left my party on the last fucking mission. I'm like, it's like, god damn it.
Where is?
Like I knew one of them was well, one of them left, so I knew one would leave. Because she makes a comment about like, if you continue this, I'm not going to support you. So I'm like, okay, cool. You're not in the party anymore. I'm going to get this other companion that was like, she's one of the first NPCs that's available. So I was able to like level her up in a really useful way. And then I did like a bunch of the final missions. And then on the very last mission, she's like, actually, I don't believe that you're going to keep your promise. I can't help you. It's like, what the fuck? Did I set off the nuke in Wasteland 2? I don't think I did. It's been a minute since I played Wasteland 2. I don't remember which ending I got for that. I don't think I set off the nuke, but I'd have to double check. Wasteland 3 is different. Like Wasteland 3 feels a lot more intimate than Wasteland 2. Like the stakes are high, but they feel a lot more personal. Like you're basically dealing with like the political machinations of this one region of Colorado that has like 4 or 5 major cities. So you really like, I don't know, it's got a different vibe to it, and it's kind of neat. Like at the end of the game, you never really feel like there's one like right answer, because like even though like I got rid of all like the dictator people, but like the upshot is like, there were a bunch of problems in this region, and like your one group of 6 people can't fix everything.
That's what I like
which I
about.
thought was kind of neat. Yeah, it was like, yeah, they can't fix everything.
That's what I like about Witcher. I mean, Witcher is a very silly game. It's very silly, but I never feel like Geralt has an unrealistic amount of influence on and his situation. So that's always kind of nice to like.
I played The Witcher. I played some of all of the Witcher games, but I never got very far in any of them because I don't know. I never vibed.
They're
with
very
the game.
horny. It's pulp.
They
It's
are very
it's like
horny.
a romance novel for gamers. It's a very pulpy
Right.
romance novel for
And,
gamers.
I can deal with that in certain ways. Like I actually like some of like the romance visual novels and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I don't like Geralt's breed of horny, and I don't like it feels
He's
like that
better
HBO.
in 2 and 3.
Well, I played 3 and it was fine, but I just didn't.
fine.
I don't know. Something about the game didn't grab.
The game is extremely like it's very gender. It's very heterosexual.
It is.
It's just very.
It's also very time investment.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Like
I need to get back to playing that. I've played like the first hour or so, and I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable for what it is.
It was fine. I liked it, but I never felt like, wow, this is definitely something I want to spend 100 hours on.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. It scratches like this very specific void in my life that is left by having played Dragon Age Origins too many times.
Oh my
That's
god,
valid.
Origins, yeah.
Dragon Age
I am
Origins
so invested in my Tabris.
Me too.
Tabris Squad! High five.
I started and played a lot of Dragon Age Origins like 3 times now, where I always like get into it, get really far in it, and then just kind of like stop playing it for a month, and then I'm like, wow, the Gandalf I have no memory of this place meme when I come back. It's like,
I
you're
wish
telling me I have to
Dragon
read
Age was good. Oh, I love Dragon Age. God, I wish it was good.
Love
have to-
Dragon Age. Love to find it quality one day.
Yeah, I have to read. I have to read
It's
like
such a
100
unique
pages
pain.
of lore to
Being
get
a-
back into it.
Being a Dragon Age like enjoyer is such fucking pain because you want it to be good and it's not.
Even from like a gameplay perspective, there's so many there's so many sections of this game where I'm like, can't wait to start a new Dragon Age playthrough and play all the sections that I actively hate.
I
Ugh.
remember a bunch of sections where I seem to recall that demobbing was a big thing where it's like I can beat these enemies like 2 at a time, but if all 19 of them swarm me, I'm gonna die.
Just have dog meat because that's what I named my Mabari because I'm a fucking nerd. Run into the room, grab all the mobs, lure them into a bottleneck, have
I'm pretty sure that's what I did.
and have why am I forgetting her name? She's the best character. I'm gonna call her Morgana.
Morgan?
It's Morgan.
Oh,
Have her
yeah,
cast
yeah.
Blizzard and an ice cone on the bottleneck, and everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Every encounter. That's the answer. Ice cone, just ice cone to win.
Also, I keep bringing Zevran with me
Oh,
everywhere.
Zevran. Oh,
because I
Zevran.
love him
Oh, best
Like,
boy. The best
so
character.
quickly,
He's
and I'm
so
like,
good. It's like, you just stay here and look pretty. We love you.
It's like-
We love you, Zevran.
we love your huge brain. We love your amazing. I will kick I kicked. I kept trying to kick Ogren out of the party because I had him with me for like 10 minutes, and he said something homophobic to Zevran, and I was like,
That's that dwarf, right?
yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, no, fuck that guy.
I don't get why I'm allowed to like kick Leliana out at basically any time.
Yeah,
but
what
with
the
Ogren,
shit?
like,
I can't get rid of him.
I never kicked Leliana
Yeah.
out. I developed
No.
her into like a super rogue.
No, Leliana's great. I would never want to kick her out.
Yeah.
Even though
Sten
my
Sten
heart
was my go-to dude. I love
I
Sten.
never used him, but I know
Sten
yeah,
is
I know
Sten is
him.
so good. Such a
I can't
good
remember
character.
who my go-tos were. I had a
So the Urn of Sacred Ashes quest line, I have a dream team for it, and it's Zevran,
Mhm.
Morgan, and Sten, because all of their dialogue is the funniest shit in the world.
Because they're all like super atheists, right? They're all like,
Well, it's like, like you go up to this like Urn of Sacred Ashes, and it's like one of the most important relics. Like it holds the ashes of fantasy Catholic Jesus.
yeah,
Mhm.
And like
Lady
there's like this
Jesus.
dramatic soft lighting, and then
Yeah.
your party transit. Morgan's like, Sten's like, congratulations, you found a waste bin, and Zevran's like, nice pause, I should get one for my house.
I
the
love
only
them so much. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Morgan is the best. Zevran is the best.
My
Alistair.
canon playthrough. My canon
Alistair.
playthrough has
Yeah.
Alistair.
Alistair.
I
Nice.
like.
See,
I like him. My canon playthrough does have him exiled.
Okay.
so I
I did
like
not like it,
him the
but I ended up
same
really
way
liking
I
him, so
like
I did.
Carcat. This guy, but Alistair's a much better, like, Alistair's, you know, he is the big puppy dog, but he's also, like, there's parts about him because of, like, his society that make him just sort of unpleasant a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
but it's compelling because he has good intentions, and it's sort of interesting, like, this kind of thing, because it's really fucking tragic. My poor Tavris, I made her into this character who's, like, extremely self-sacrificing and fucking determined. She is this unstoppable
Yeah.
little tiny ball of knives and will, and she just, like, she just does not fucking quit. She's very much sort of like the Joan of Arc, like, martyred
I'm-
sort of character. And then what fucking happens if you're romancing Alistair, if you're a Tavris, is he breaks up with you right before you're going to go basically fight a battle that is going to kill you. And that's what he does? What the shit, dude? Do you have any... He has no thoughts of his own in his brain. There's nothing in
No.
there. You zoom in and
Right.
there's just like elevator lounge
gonna-
music playing. And there's just nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So it was just a big wow where I think she figured out, oh, wait a minute, you suck a little bit.
Right.
Like, not suck in a way where he's actively malicious. I'm so sorry. But I'm talking about Alistair. Where he's actively malicious,
No.
but he's just so passive and kind of, like, thoughtless.
Right.
Oh, it was like I said, I accidentally exiled him
Yeah.
because like you get to the Logate execution thing, and somebody chimes in like, "Hey, we could make him a warden," and I just kind of decided it would be interesting for my Tabris character to like finally let go of this cycle of vengeance because like she'd been carrying this anger with her for so fucking long, and she's finally like maybe we can make something productive out of this. So she spares him, and then Alistair chimes in and like. This entire time he's been like, I don't want to be king. I don't want to be king. Like, please don't make me do it. And so my Tabris was very much like, okay, bud, I'm not gonna make you king. Like, that's fine. I got your back on this one.
Right.
And then he,
It's
when
like,
she
wait a
won't let
minute.
him murder the man, he's like, well, I'm gonna become king now. Like, make me king so that I can execute him. And she's like, no.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna let you be
That's the
Son.
thing. Like, that's what's so good about Dragon Age. You can get these different sides of these characters and these different stories where they come out where their weaknesses kind of become more integral to their behavior and who they are, and they become like a legitimately bad person in the context of their story with you. It's very cool. Oh, and Morgan. Oh, because the thing is, there's that thing with Morgan where she tries to save you, and the only way she knows how, and if you turn her down, she doesn't understand, and she leaves because that's the only thing she knows how to do because she's like loves you, because she's your
Right.
friend. She doesn't know how to deal with it, and she just leaves. And so my Tabris basically ended her life with everyone fucking abandoning her
Wow.
before she
That
dies
sucks.
to save the kingdom, and it sucks. It hurts so bad. So I had to make the AU where she like where Alistair's not a fucking douchebag, and Morgan like maybe comes around later on and understands why that happened, and she gets to be Elf Queen because fuck you. Give her a princess ending.
I've never successfully romanced Alistair where I've like actually married him. I have like a mage who's like they're just warden, they're
Yeah.
warden wives, but
Yeah.
Warden wives.
but like I think I don't know. My Tabris romanced Zevran and Morgan, and I still maintain
Ooh.
that is an excellent fucking poly ship
Oh,
because
yeah.
those two have a lot to talk
Oh,
about.
they would be so good. They would be so good.
They're constantly like flirting with each other in a way that I actually think Morgan kind of enjoys, and I'm just like, come on, like,
Yeah.
come on, boys.
Come on. You're both
I
you're
also
both
think that,
bi.
like,
You're
Race
both
Spirit would be
you're both
adorable.
very cool. You're both the coolest characters.
You're both the best character.
Dragon Age. Oh god, I love Dragon Age so much. It's so bad that it's terrible. It's so good. I wish it was good.
It's a dating sim. Like that's just
It's a dating sim. It's the best dating sim ever.
It's a dating, yeah. Hold on, let me see if I've still got my. Trying to see if I still have my Dragon Age
Okay.
installed. I was gonna load it up and see what my characters were. Oh, I do have it installed. Here it is. It's also kind of janky. Like it doesn't work great if you do it on like 4K resolution because it's kind of an older game and like the interface is basically unusably small.
Oh yeah, no, it's real bad.
It's got
bad.
like a lot of technical issues.
This whole time we've just been talking about how bad Dragon Age.
Right, like
It's like,
it's
you install the skip it.
yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
I need I need somebody to install like a skip the deep roads mod in the same way like
Oh,
everybody and their mother has a
yeah.
skip the fade.
Oh my
I
god!
like
yes.
I didn't mind the fade,
The
It
fade
just-
but then
was
again,
fine.
I'm a fucking weirdo. So
The fade
I
was
will say-
fine. The deep roads were annoying.
The deep roads are so annoying, but it has grown on me as like this sort of therapeutic, like I'm not having a good time in here, but like I am doing stuff constantly.
But I'm acknowledging that
I
I'm not
liked
having a
what the
good
deep
time.
roads were as a story moment because you could get in these really desperate situations where you're like stuck down there. You don't ever like you can't leave, so you're really puts you to the fucking test.
Okay, my
Well, it's also,
party
like-
is.
It's really
So I
good.
have Durin the dwarf, Alistair. Durin is my main character. That was my
Broska,
PC dwarf. Alistair, Leliana, and Wynn apparently.
Oh, 9 keys. I'm a douchebag and an idiot.
you've got
So-
the Catholic crew.
Yeah,
go.
basically.
Okay, but is it a Broska or an Idukan dwarf? This is important.
I don't remember. Let me see if I can find the character information. See. Thanks, dwarf. dwarf noble, I guess. What the fuck? I don't know
Ayduken.
which. Ayduken, I guess. I don't remember.
I am obsessed with the dwarf origin stories. Like, those are probably the ones I replay the most often. Like, my
Nice.
Tabrik will always be my baby, but, like, I love the dwarf origins. And I can't do Koosland. I just do not give a shit about Koosland.
I have never played a
Yeah.
human and will never play a
Basically,
human except for
a
Dragon Age 2,
really-
which is also really fucking good.
a really.
Oh my
like,
God, I wish it was good.
tanky- I have a really tanky dwarf character with like a big sword and shield and a bunch of dragonbone armor, basically.
Oh, I love two-handed warriors in, like, Origins.
Yeah, primarily strength build, warrior. Just he takes a lot of damage and he hits good. That's his deal.
That's the deal.
I like playing warriors in, like, all RPG. I hate playing mages. I want to feel powerful and, like, I can punch stuff.
Yeah. I actually really like playing characters that are kind of a combination, like dexterity type characters. Like I find that the characters I play in like the Wasteland characters I played were always like the party face and also like good at shooting things from far away. Like I all my Wasteland characters are good at shooting things from far away, except the one that's good at shooting things up close with a shotgun. Because that was her deal was fixing stuff and shooting stuff with a shotgun. But yeah,
You know what? That's all you need.
yeah. Well, I have my usual Wasteland build is 2 characters with assault rifles, 1 character with a sniper rifle, 1 character with a shotgun, 1 character with a submachine gun, and 1 character with a pistol. And by the end of the game, I had two sniper rifles, one of whom had a pistol as a secondary, because the game makes ammo in the beginning of the game really hard to find and really expensive to buy. So it's in your best interest not to have 2 characters using the same kind of ammo for a while. So I had like one using a assault rifle that used one type, one using a different type, and then a submachine gun, a pistol, a sniper rifle, a shotgun. Like, yep, we're not using the same type of ammo.
No, it's
Oh, sorry, I haven't been seeing the chat. Yeah, the way they deal with the mages is like being oppressed is not appropriate. It's kind of bad. Do we want to
not
talk about
appropriate.
Anders? Because I saw a tweet that you might be an Anders stan, and I respect Anders stans. I just had a bad experience with the character's
No,
very
that's very
first
fair.
conversation. So, but
there's very insufferable stands out there.
Yeah,
but
'cause-
I'm so I did not realize until later that you were not supposed to find the Trantry explosion cool. Because I was watching
someone
it,
needs
like,
to blow up the church. I don't
Oh my
understand.
God.
So that's the problem, because since there's so many problems with how Anders is written, you can have this wide range of experiences with him where you are kind of like doing different things to fix the problem in that narrative and like where it falls short of what it's trying to do. So that's why you can have like good or bad experiences with I guess the character.
I romanced him on the first playthrough, and like I did not understand why so much of my dialogue options were like all hurt and betrayed about it. When like the character, like, my like canon Hawk is very like frankly more extreme than he is. So
Yeah,
if
it's like-
anything,
Because that's so funny, because Anders is so like, no one understands my pain, and your Hawk is like, yeah, I want to blow it up. Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. Let's blow it up.
She was like, I'm not mad because you didn't tell me. I just wish you told me because I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I was complaining the entire time. If I didn't know we were gonna blow up the Catholic Church,
Oh my
I would have been
God.
a lot of
Would have been down for it. The first conversation you could have is unfortunately, because I'm a fucking lesbian, so of course my Hawk's a lesbian. So you talk to him, and he's like very like, Phantom of the Opera, like, ugh, no, I'm too dangerous. You can't possibly. Because I said one nice thing to him, and he's like, no, we could never be together because I'm
Right.
too damaged. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? No, you got this wrong. And he's like, really offended. He got really offended. And I'm like, oh, what you do? I'm like, what the shit? Die. I'm done with this. Upload the
Dude,
chantry
chill the
myself.
fuck
Exactly.
out.
I just instantly like, no thanks.
What is wrong
What's
with
wrong?
you?
He was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
So many issues.
So
Like,
unfortunately, yeah. So
He has
unfortunately,
so many problems.
unfortunately
I
to my
know.
Hawk, he was just that douchebag off to the side of the story, who's just an
I-
extremely minor character. Because I never brought him anywhere. I was never
Yeah.
nice to him. I was already sick of his shit, and just doing
I will
everything
not.
myself.
I will not start another Dragon Age playthrough that I then won't finish.
Meryl
I
was
will
right.
not
Meryl
do
was
it.
always right. Meryl has done nothing wrong.
Meryl was so right.
Meryl is
Like,
so right.
That remained the most frustrating aspect between my Hawk and Anders is like I was like, why is this magic bad? Like
Yeah.
blood magic Anders, I'm a blood mage. What's
Yeah.
wrong with you? I love that your Hawk can be a blood mage and the story has no comment on it whatsoever.
It's got nothing to say about it.
And then they bring you back
Like
to
you're
Inquisition.
actively doing blood magic shit in front of the Templars. And they're like, it's fine.
They bring you back for Inquisition to have you spout some lines about I've seen the damage that blood magic can do upon people's lives. And I'm like, Marianne, I spect you myself. What
Time to do some blood. I love when there's like those.
Well, she has
Those-
seen it because I'm assuming she. I'm sorry, I don't know which Hawk you picked.
No, it's a she.
It's a she,
Marianne
yeah.
is like,
Oh,
I-
I love her.
I love when I love when there's like the disconnects between gameplay and story stuff in those like funny ways. Like I find that like that's one thing I think is kind of hilarious about like the Fallout games and the 2D ones, and then Wasteland as well. Wasteland even more so, because by the end of the game, you get a party that's just like unkillably good at killing people, and like there was one
Murder, it's
part
what
in
we do.
Wasteland 3 where there's like you're raiding this like underground bunker to like
You're rating
take
it
out a
5 out
bunch
of
of,
5
like-
stars because it's such a good bunker.
Raiding.
I
not
know, I'm
rating.
being silly.
But you go in and you're basically like killing everyone, and then on your way out, there's a group of like reinforcements that show up, and if your renown level's high enough, they'll be like, "Oh shit, that's the Desert Rangers. We're out of here." But that's literally the only time in the game where that happens. But like, there's a whole bunch of points in the game where you have like random encounters with like random slavers, and it's like, this is a squad of 6 people who have killed hundreds of your fellow
Yeah.
slavers. Maybe don't just like run up and attack them, I guess. But
Maybe.
like, nope. And not only that, but in Wasteland 3, you have like a vehicle that goes into the random encounters with you that can run people over and insta kill them, and has a giant cannon on it. So yeah, maybe
Yeah,
not
maybe
the best
don't do that.
decision. Like
Maybe don't do it.
right.
I'm gonna have to do
I
this.
love when game devs make just certain assumptions about your like that that's my huge beef with Dragon Age, especially like Inquisition, is it
Mhm.
assumes that you are just like a very aggressive centrist
Oh, right, yeah.
who's like turned off by physical violence.
I want the range
Very
to be able to play the character
It's
that I actually imagine, and sometimes the
It's-
writers just for some reason don't imagine that
don't-
someone
they
feels
don't
that
think
way.
of
I
it.
don't get it.
it's like I when I last played New Vegas, I kind of like got through most of the main story, and then I just decided that just for the fun of it, I was going to play a kill all of the fascists run,
Yeah.
which is basically like all of the major factions. So I just went into all of the faction groups and killed literally all of them. So like the only people left were like the regular Wasteland people. Like I got the Enclave, the Brotherhood, the other like Enclave people, the NCR. Yes, all of them.
All of them.
All of the like the definitely Caesar's Legion. Oh, I wiped them right the fuck out.
They're gone.
Like,
Mm.
like all of the really like gross casino people that were trying to like rule over the people of New Vegas with their crime shit. Like, nope, you're all dead. You're literally all of you.
Murder sometimes is the solution.
my super murder character is she's gonna do her thing.
I mean, if you make a character that can just, because in reality, you can't do that. The
No,
only reason
well-
that's not an option is because one person just like cannot. You cannot fucking Rambo.
You can't literally.
It's
do
physically
that, like-
impossible. It's morally would be fine to Rambo, but you can't because there's like physical reality to contend with.
Well, that's the funny thing about like the Bethesda 3D games, and I include both the Elder Scrolls and Fallout in this, is that despite however they start out, because some of them are harder to get started in than others. Like New Vegas is pretty difficult in the beginning. Like you're not invulnerable, but like in literally every one of those games, you always cross a threshold where you just become an unstoppable death machine.
Yeah.
Like the way the games are played, because the companion system kind of sucks. They really encourage you to be a jack of all trades, by which I mean just the best at everything.
The best at murder.
So like when you get to a high enough level in the game, it's like nothing can stop you. Like you can pick every lock, you can disarm every security system, and you can just kill everything all the time. And it's like it just no longer. It just becomes a mechanical challenge of like dividing up the work. Not like you're going to die, but just like so
Yeah.
you can do it the most efficiently. It's like
Cut to 14-year-old me who only brought companions places in Skyrim so they could kill spiders. Skyrim gave me such chronic arachnophobia that I'm still feeling the effects of today. Like,
I still
I,
can't draw. I thought I was maybe gonna
I
draw
liked
today.
Skyrim was fun, but again, it had that same thing where like eventually you get to the point where it's just like, and I went stealth archer because of course I went stealth archer. That's the way to win at that game.
there's no other option. You have to be a stealth archer.
You
But
gotta
it's
be
funny
a stealth
because
archer.
if you get good enough at that, you just sort of kill everybody before they even know you're there, and it's like, oh, I guess I technically have close range weapons just like for fun, but you don't need them. That's the only RPG I found in the Bethesda list of RPGs where playing an archer was actually like a good decision and not just like a thing you could technically do.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm going to stop the stream, but I will stay in the voice chat, I think, for most of the
Nice.
day. And just
Nice,
try
nice,
and
nice.
stay focused. Okay, so thank
Yeah,
everybody for
that's
coming
fair.
to the stream. We do this every Sunday, so if you
Bye.
want to come back next week, I can't physically stop you. So
I mean, you can. You could like ban people if you really wanted.
I
to.
don't know how. So please
There you
don't
go.
say bad words.